Chapter 300. The battle had truly ended. Fatty Hai, Shui Lang, Prince of Tian Luo, and the other summoning grimoires all glowed with the light of leveling up. They were of different colors. Fatty Hai's grimoire flashed with green light, Shui Lang's grimoire flashed with blue light, and Prince of Tian Luo's grimoire flashed with white light. Among them, Fatty Hai, who had the lowest level, was the weakest, fought the fiercest, and fought the most bloody battles, gained the most. His iron-skinned rhinoceros had leveled up from bronze-ranked level 4 to silver-ranked level 4, and from iron-skinned rhinoceros to silver-horned rhinoceros. If it were to level up again in the future, it would become an extremely rare beast that was known as the king of land battles alongside the thunder mammoth, the diamond rhinoceros. This time's evolution was very meaningful. Fatty Hai's rhinoceros could finally be displayed on the stage. For beasts like the iron rhinoceros, most of them would remain as an iron rhinoceros for their entire lives. However, as long as they could level up to become a silver-horned rhinoceros, there is a 99% chance that they would level up to become a King Kong rhinoceros in the end. Hence, Fatty Hai couldn't stop smiling when he leveled up this time. Although he was heavily injured and in so much pain that he could barely stand up, this battle was worth it. Yi Kong and the Li clan brothers were extremely envious. None of them had a summoning grimoire, so it was impossible for them to level up with battle points, and it was also impossible for them to obtain the Ancient Code's reward. For example, not only did Fatty Hai's iron-skinned rhinoceros evolve into a silver-horned rhinoceros, he even gained a skill called Copper Skin Iron Bones. Yi Kong was so envious that he almost drooled. This was the difference between having a grimoire or not. Shui Lang, the Ice Cube guy, did not announce his leveling up reward. He had always been cool, but seeing the unconcealable joy in his eyes, it seemed like the reward was pretty good. Prince of Tian Luo's element-type beast, Skyfire Meteor, had leveled up. Although this beast was originally gold-ranked, it did not level up. Among the crowd, the one who improved the most was neither Shui Lang nor Fatty Hai. It was Yu Bing. After her 100-year Treant Defender leveled up, it became a 1,000-year Treant General. It had leveled up from bronze-ranked level 5 to silver-ranked level 5. The 1,000-year-old Treant General was taller than the 100-year-old Treant Defender. It was more humanoid, and, at the same time, it had the heart of the ancient tree. The tree heart was very important to the Treants because as long as the tree heart was not destroyed, the Treants would not die. 1,000-year-old Treant Generals. Not only would their battle prowess increase, their life force would also become more tenacious. The path of the Treant's evolution was Treant Warrior, 100-year Treant Defender, 1,000-year Treant General, and 10,000-year Ancient Tree King. Yu Bing's Treant was only one step away from becoming the king of ancient trees that no one else in the world possessed. Possessing the tree heart was the beginning of a tree man becoming a humanoid, a sacred beast, and a powerful existence. Qian, fallen flowers, and Yu had all improved to varying degrees. Among them, Kai Yang and Lu Wei, who had killed innate rancors, and Shui Wuxia, who had killed Hunter Transformation's Demon Venerable, had gained the most. The girls all chose to keep it a secret and did not publicize the situation of their leveling up. The evil spirits in the demonic abyss had all been killed. Most of the Zijin Kingdom's elite soldiers had also died in battle. A small number of survivors chose to surrender, and a small number of them were afraid of being punished afterwards, so they chose to commit suicide. The Yu clan's guards and clansmen who had submitted to the fake Yu Qiu had all chosen to surrender. A portion of the clan generals and clansmen who had been put under house arrest or imprisoned because they had opposed Yu Qiu were released by everyone. They immediately started to clean up the mess, save people, and save their homes. For example, Lin Lei and Lin Miao, the two external guards who had followed Yu Yang at the first moment, were now extremely powerful. They were now heroes. Even Yu clan's collateral disciples would greet them as Brother Lin when they saw them. Their relatives, such as their cousins, lifted them up and cheered. Everyone felt that the Lin clan's position in the Yu clan would rise greatly. Once the innate rancor Yu Yang took over the Yu clan again, the Lin clan would definitely be revived. Some of the clan generals and guards who did not surrender in time lowered their heads in shame. Those who had participated in the killing of the demons were still all right. They were considered to have rebelled and resisted until the end. Even if no one caught them, they would still stand aside and quietly wait for their fate of being judged. They were all from Yu clan, but who was right and who was wrong, who was loyal and who was traitor, everyone could see for themselves. Who would want to fish in troubled waters? That was simply impossible. The two elders who were released from the prison couldn't help but cry when they saw the Yu clan castle in ruins and the corpses of their clansmen strewn all over the ground. This battle was definitely an unprecedented disaster for the Yu clan. Fortunately, the Yu clan managed to hold on even though it was impossible for them to win. This was because the Yu clan had a descendant who miraculously turned the situation around, the third young master Yu Yang. With his own strength, he killed a few innates, defeated the great emperor of Ji Wei, Shun Tian, and the Thousand Goblin sect leader Shadow. He even chased after the Green Summit sect leader Duan Mu Long Chung and killed his way into the demon abyss. If he did not kill his way into the Yu clan castle for the second time, the Yu clan that had not fallen for thousands of years would have been taken over by someone else. Now, we just have to wait for brother to come back. Yu Bing knew that the matters of the clan were waiting to be sorted out, but she did not like to manage the clan's affairs. Furthermore, she did not understand these things. On the other hand, Yu went to the family courtyard in the castle and comforted the frightened women and children who were hiding there. There was once an evil spirit that attacked the family courtyard, but it was blocked by second Uncle Yu Ling and Joer Yu Feng. The Yu clan's women and children were finally safe. Don't worry, your brother will definitely come back safely. Shui Wuxia gently caressed Yu Bing's blood-stained face and comforted her gently. Woof! Hui Tai Lang's senses were the best. He was the first to rush to the door before the Bloody Queen and the Thorny Flower Demoness. His master had returned. He could sense Yu Yang's unique life aura. Of course, the Bloody Queen and the Thorny Flower Demoness could sense it too, but they were slower by a bit. They followed closely behind Hui Tai Lang and happily flew to welcome him. Forget about them. Even Fatty Hai and the others who had not recovered from their injuries started to struggle. They ran out to welcome Yu Yang's return personally. Accompanying Yu Yang through the door was the ascetic practice saint and the scholar who were bathed in blood. Both of them looked as if they had just been fished out from a pool of blood. Their bodies were riddled with scars, but their expressions were very calm, as if the wounds on their bodies belonged to other people. There was even a hint of pride on their faces. This was because they were all heavenly imperial guardians. After paying such a price, the two Zijin kingdom's heavenly imperial guardians had died on the ground. They were all heavenly imperial guardians, but they were much stronger. The scars on their bodies were the heavenly imperial guardians' medals of glory. Of course, they still felt a little ashamed standing next to the uninjured Yu Yang. However, they already knew that Yu Yang was a pervert, so they did not feel ashamed. It was not that Yu Yang was not injured at all. His injuries were actually very serious, but they had already recovered with the help of Nirvana's flame. The ascetic practice saint and the others knew that Yu Yang had fought with Duan Mu Long Chung, Shun Tian, and the others. But they did not know that he had also fought with the great demon king Baruth, Ha Xian, O Jin, and the two Lich King Grun and Ma Fa. If they knew, they would have a heart attack. Actually, Yu Yang didn't stop there. He had even rescued the Qilin girl who was sealed in the Crystal Pillar Formation, who was a little naive. He had even met the Phoenix twin sisters who had been living in seclusion in the Divine Grimoire. The Qilin girl had barged into the Divine Grimoire's world and was kicked out. In the end, she was accepted by the Phoenix sisters and lived in the Divine Grimoire's world. Yu Yang had also fulfilled his great wish of abducting the lost girl. Originally, he had wanted to talk to the Phoenix sisters. However, the Phoenix sisters were very young, even younger than Little One Li. They could not speak at all. When their thoughts came into contact with Yu Yang felt dizzy and lightheaded. Nirvana's flame filled his entire body, making him feel as if he was about to explode. With his current strength, he was still unable to communicate with the Phoenix sisters' thoughts. Of course, this was also because the Phoenix sisters did not know how to control their own abilities. Yu Yang had only sense for a moment, but he understood a lot. With the help of the lost Qilin girl's translation, he had understood many things. For example, he knew that the Phoenix sisters and the Qilin were kind, immortal beasts. They were naturally kind, intelligent, and had the purest heart of nature. Normally, they would not take the initiative to attack any enemy, unless the enemy was a threat to them. Hence, unless someone wanted to harm Yu Yang's life, they would not come out to fight under normal circumstances. As for their origins, the Qilin girl could not say how the Phoenix sisters were born. However, she firmly believed that Yu Yang was a father. She even believed that little Wen Li was also Yu Yang's daughter, completely disregarding the issue of race. This made Yu Yang speechless. The Qilin girl also liked little Wen Li a lot. She felt that little Wen Li's temper was much better than the Phoenix sisters. Little Wen Li did not have any objections to her entering the divine grimoire's world, and would not kick her out like the Phoenix sisters. The Qilin girl did not know that little Wen Li's real thoughts were that as long as the other party did not fight with her for her father, everything else did not matter. Yu Yang was 80% sure that the phoenix egg was in his Chinquin bag, but he did not know how it hatched. Maybe it was given to him by the heavenly sword goddess. He did not care about this for now. In any case, the heavenly sword goddess was his first wife. With her taking care of the household, Yu Yang was very at ease. He felt that he only needed to enjoy his blissful sexual life. The heavenly sword goddess would take care of everything. If he did not have any internal matters, he would ask his first wife, the heavenly sword goddess. If he did not have any external matters, he would ask his second wife, Shui Wuxia. The impatience and Yu Yang agreed on a time to meet again, then waved her hands and left. If she did not leave, the ascetic practice saint and the scholar would be very nervous. Their palms would be sweaty, their heartbeat would increase, and their anger would rise. This was not because she was very attractive, but because she was the famous Sky Law. She was the great Sky Demoness who killed without batting an eye. She was the enemy of Xia and Tian Luo for thousands of years. Sky Law and Yu Yang had a good relationship, but it did not mean that the ascetic practice saint and the others would be at ease with her. It was even more impossible for them to treat her as a friend. Hence, before the ascetic practice saint and the scholar had finished their battle, she smiled and left first. Yu Yang's return had hastened the deaths of the two heavenly imperial guardians of the Zijin kingdom. Although Yu Yang did not attack, when the two heavenly imperial guardians of the Zijin kingdom saw his return, their minds were in chaos and they lost all their fighting spirit. The ascetic practice saint took the opportunity to unleash his hidden strength and killed his opponent. Then, he helped the scholar to kill the remaining person. Finally, he followed Yu Yang into the Yu clan castle in glory, announcing the final victory of this battle. The old cunning fox also quietly teleported over. There was not a single trace of blood on his body, but his contribution was great, second only to Yu Yang. This was because he had used his own teleportation ability to move the demon abyss teleportation gate of the Xia and Tian Luo kingdom into his testing space. Under the situation where there were no innate rancors guarding the place, he had used his own strength to secretly protect the two kingdoms. The old cunning fox's spiritual energy was exhausted, and he was half dead from exhaustion. He teleported over with a pale face and picked up his walking stick, wanting to knock on Yu Yang's head. That was because this rotten idea was suggested by Yu Yang. Although it was very effective, if it wasn't for his rich experience and his breakthrough in his spatial ability, the old cunning fox felt that he would have died from overexerting his spiritual energy. Thinking about it, he still felt a lingering fear. Before he could even lift his walking stick, Yu Bing had already run over with her tear-stained face and threw herself into her brother's embrace. Of course, she was happy. Seeing that her brother had returned, Yu Bing's heart was relieved. With her brother, her life would have a sky. Without her brother, she didn't dare to imagine what would happen to her, her mother and her sister. The Bloody Queen, the Thorny Flower Demoness, and the barbarian Cow Shadow all rushed over to welcome their master. Hui Tai Lang happily rubbed itself against Yu Yang's leg. This position belonged to it alone. No one would snatch it from it. Unable to hug Yu Yang, and also not daring to touch the two innate rankers, the ascetic practice saint and the scholar. Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others could only lift the old cunning fox up. Amidst the cheers, he was thrown into the air. Because their bodies were in pain and they were extremely tired, after throwing him twice, their arms were so tired that they couldn't lift him up. Those who were about to lift him up didn't have the strength to catch the old cunning fox. Pa! The old cunning fox tragically fell to the ground. He almost broke his tailbone, causing him to grit his teeth in pain. In this battle, we have defeated our enemies and obtained a complete victory. History will remember you all. You have created a miracle that cannot be replicated. The peace of the country and the protection of the Yu clan are all thanks to you all. The ascetic practice saint raised his arms with all his might, praising Fatty Hai, Yi Kong, and the other hot-blooded youths loudly. Victory! In the ruins of the Yu clan castle, the cheers were deafening. Everyone shouted to their heart's content, feeling proud of this victory. Princess Sisai, City Mistress Fallen Flowers, Inan, and Shui Wuxia stood outside the crowd, quietly looking at Yang. Their eyes were filled with tenderness. They were also worried about his safety. They also wanted to hug him tightly, welcoming his return. However, at this moment, they gave him to his friends, to his clansmen who were cheering for him. Chapter 301. The battle at the Yu clan castle had shaken the whole world. Previously, the fake Yu Qiu was so powerful that some people suspected that he was a fake. However, reality was reality, and strength was strength. They didn't think that the real Yu clan's third young master would win. After all, this was a fight between an innate and many innates. Furthermore, anyone with a discerning eye could see that the people supporting the fake Yu Qiu were Zijin Kingdom, Thousand Goblins Sect, Green Summit Sect, and even Lion Pagoda. Everyone believed that Yu Yang would definitely lose, and the fake Yu Qiu would topple the Yu clan. This was the second time that Yu Yang had brought his sister to the Yu clan castle. Many people thought that this was his most impulsive and irrational action. So he was a genius boy, the future hope of the Yu clan. Because he was young and impetuous, he didn't know how to endure, and he was about to walk on the road to ruin, never to return. Everyone in the world thought so. Who would have thought that when the final result of the battle was revealed, countless people's eyeballs would drop to the ground? The fake Yu Qiu, who had the support of many big powers and had even colluded with the demon abyss, was actually dismembered. The fake third young master was even swallowed alive by the real third young master's beast. Those innate rankers who had come to help, such as Yao Guang, Kai Yang, and Tian Quan of the Seven Great Bears, had all died on the mountain path of the Yu clan castle. They were all killed by the unimaginably abnormal Yu clan third young master. As for the demon innate rancor Qi Liao, Zijin Kingdom's heavenly imperial guardians Ma Shang and Nyogua, as well as the Minister of Internal Affairs Liu Wei, with the help of the ascetic practice saint and the scholar, none of them were spared. The Green Summit sect that attacked the Yu clan with all their might was exterminated. Not a single expert was left. First, the vice sect leader Machi Su Ling had a life and death duel with the Yu clan third young master, and was killed by the Yu clan third young master without suffering any injuries. The sect leader Duan Mulong Chung, who was a famous innate rancor in Tong Tian Tower, suffered a crushing defeat and ran for his life. The Yu clan third young master chased him all the way to the demon abyss and killed him. Even someone as strong as the great emperor of Ji Wei, Shun Tian, who was a senior expert from 900 years ago, the great emperor of Ji Wei of the 7th floor of Tong Tian Tower, returned empty-handed in the end. People really couldn't imagine how strong the Yu clan's third young master, who had defeated so many strong enemies, was. The most maddening thing was that this kid was only 20 years old. If someone else were to become a sect master at the age of 20, they would already be considered a super genius that only appeared once in 100 years. Compared to him, she wasn't even fit to carry his shoes. When the Yu clan's third young master was 20 years old, he was able to kill the innate level 6 Green Summit sect leader, Duan Mulong Chung. He even chased him to the demon abyss and killed him. This kind of heaven-defying feat was definitely unprecedented in history. because two of the heavenly imperial guardians had died in battle. Zijin Kingdom, who had originally planned to attack the Xia Kingdom, hastily called back the 200,000-strong army that was preparing to leave their borders. They changed from attacking to defending and stationed their troops at the serious fortress between the two kingdoms, fearing that the great Xia Kingdom would launch a counterattack. The envoy of Zijin, who had arrogantly asked the Xia Kingdom's crown prince to marry his sister, Jun Yuan, to the prince of Zijin as his concubine, was immediately thrown out of the door by the Xia Kingdom's crown prince after the battle at the Yu clan castle. When the second prince found out about this, he immediately sent his guards to tie this fellow up. After beating him up, he stripped him naked and hung him upside down at the entrance of the Xia Kingdom's palace as a public display. Although the Xia Kingdom's crown prince did not have the authority to declare war against the Zijin Kingdom, the crown prince and the second prince, as well as a few other princes who had the ability to compete for the throne, all expressed that the Zijin Kingdom was purposely tarnishing their sister's reputation. The Xia Kingdom would not stop at a war to avenge their humiliation. Afterwards, the Zijin Kingdom sent a special envoy to beg for forgiveness. They also publicly accused the envoy that they had sent earlier of colluding with the Demon Abyss, saying that he was not acting on the Zijin Kingdom's emperor's orders, but was purposely trying to sow discord between the two kingdoms. The Xia Kingdom's crown prince and the other princes refused to accept the Zijin Kingdom's special envoy's explanation and declared that they would pursue the matter to the end. Before Jun Wuyu returned to take charge of the situation, the crown prince and the other princes did not have the authority to mobilize their troops. Furthermore, there were many rebellions in Xia's territories. Horse bandits were everywhere, and the internal strife was severe. They urgently needed to quell the rebellions, so it was impossible for the Xia Kingdom to immediately send troops. However, even a blind man could see that the Xia Kingdom and the Zijin Kingdom would have a war sooner or later. The Xia Kingdom's crown prince and the other princes, other than sending their trusted aides to congratulate Yu Yang on his victory, they also sent a large number of gifts to congratulate him. The competition between them was intense. Even the Xia Kingdom's crown prince had personally led his family's generals and royal guards, taking advantage of Yu Yang's great victory in the Yu clan castle to kill the horse bandits everywhere, to persuade the city lord to surrender, and to take credit for the rebellion. As for the other great clans, they all came to congratulate him. The person who received them was Yu Ling, Yu Yang's second uncle. He was also the Yu clan's new substitute clan master. Yu Yang was not interested in becoming the substitute clan master. Furthermore, he had to manage so many people in the Yu clan and rebuild their homeland. He would be exhausted to death. Yu Yang threw the responsibility to his second uncle Yu Ling. Although Yu Ling was not as talented as his big brother Yu Shan, or as strong as his third brother Yu Qiu, or even as wise as his fourth brother Yu Ling, he was better than everyone else. He had a little bit of ability in all aspects. Furthermore, during the bloody battle in the Yu clan castle, although he did not help Yu Yang, he did not help the fake Yu Qiu either. In order to preserve the Yu clan's bloodline, he was also outstanding. Hence, the remaining two elders were willing to let Yu Ling temporarily take over the position of substitute clan master until clan master Yu Hai returned. Yu Ling would never have dreamed that the position of clan master, which he had longed for the most in his life, would actually fall into his hands. Previously, there was the powerful Yu Qiu in front of him, followed by his eldest son Yu Shan. Amongst the younger generation, his nephew Yu Ting was being groomed as the future clan master. His father was still old but vigorous, his big brother was still in the prime of his life, and his nephew was full of youth. Yu Ling reckoned that he would never be able to become the substitute clan master in this lifetime. Furthermore, Yu Yang, who rose up later on, was extremely talented. Not only his father, everyone in the Yu clan saw him as the hope of the future clan master. The possibility of him becoming the clan master was very high. As long as Yu Yang agreed, no one would object. He never thought that he would actually give up the position of substitute clan master to him. In fact, he did not even support him before. Second uncle Yu Ling felt ashamed and touched at the same time. When Yu Yang came to talk to him and asked him to take over the position of substitute clan master and lead the clan to rebuild their homeland, Yu Ling was stunned for a long time. He almost thought that he had heard wrongly. However, he did not reject Yu Yang's offer and agreed immediately. Yu Ling was determined to be a good substitute clan master until his father returned from the Eastern Goblin tribe. Then, he would lead the clan members to rebuild the Yu clan castle from the ruins. Yu Yang, his nephew, was already an innate. His future lay in the Tong Tian Tower, so it was normal that he did not care about the position of substitute clan master. Although Yu Yang did not manage anything, second uncle Yu Ling would come to report on his work progress in the evening every day. Even if Yu Yang did not have the time to see him, he would still give a summary of the day's work to Yu Yu or Yu Bing, asking them to pass it on to him. After this battle, the Yu clan members had also changed. They had become more united. The collateral family members and disciples who did not have the same surname as before were no longer inferior to the others. Under the leadership of the new clan leaders, Lin Lei and Lin Miao, they became more enthusiastic and took the initiative to participate in rebuilding their homeland. The Yu clan was already rich with resources. Furthermore, the various big clans, the Xia Crown Prince, and the other princes had sent a large amount of resources and manpower. The Yu clan castle was rebuilt very quickly. Although they were still in the midst of construction, they believed that it wouldn't be long before the Yu clan castle, which was even more majestic and glorious, would be built with such enthusiasm and vigor. Qilin girl, do you think I should refine this medicine like this? Yu Yang was like a studious primary school student. Stupid, you can't use Nirvana's flame right now. Nirvana's flame is too pure. Some of the medicinal properties will change. Your purple flame is enough. It might be better if you add some water of life to temper it, but I haven't tried it yet. The naturally silly Qilin girl was usually a little muddle-headed. However, when it came to refining medicine, even 100 Yu Yangs couldn't compare to one of her fingers. Previously, when Yu Yang and Shui Wuxiao were discussing martial spirit pills and martial god pills, the Qilin girl who came out to play had a look of disdain on her face. She accidentally said that martial spirit pills were equivalent to jelly beans. Only the immortal pills that she refined were good things. When she said this, Yu Yang immediately caught her. Yu Yang threatened to beat her and chase her out of the house if she didn't teach him pill refining skills. In the end, it was a great success. Just like this, Yu Yang had a free tutor who was even more ferocious than the world's pill refining grandmaster. The only shortcoming was that this tutor didn't have the patience to teach his disciple. The Qilin girl preferred the evil clothes that Yu Yang designed, such as lace stockings and lace bras. She even wanted to try the more evil, transparent, hollow, mesh, and other underwear that would make a girl blush with shame and make a wolf's blood boil. Unfortunately, because of the Qilin mother's super protection, the Qilin girl couldn't change into any clothes. This was because the Qilin mother had put on a heavenly robe that was said to be made from the Qilin treasure armor. Not to mention outsiders, even the Qilin girl herself couldn't take it off when she was in her human form. Yu Yang was very busy. Although the desire to design sexy underwear was great, he didn't have time to do it for the time being. At most, he would draw some pictures to tempt the Qilin girl. Waiting for Yu Yang was the work of refining martial spirit pills to help the girls, Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others to further improve their strength and break through to the innate realm. He also had to study the heaven runes and ancient runes to prepare for the future exploration of God's ruins. He also had to heal the injured dragon turtle in the depths of the despair abyss mentioned by the Night Empress and obtain the Black Tortoise Pearl. At the same time, he also had to complete the task of gathering the Azure Dragon Pearl, Vermilion Bird Pearl, White Tiger Pearl, and Black Tortoise Pearl. Of course, he also had to complete the task of World Tree, obtain the Wisdom Fruit and Lustrous Branch, further upgrade Yu Bing's 1,000-year-old Treant General, and prepare to become the 10,000-year-old Tree King. At the same time, he also completed the promise of handing over one wisdom fruit a year to Jizun. There was also the exploration of Death Canyon. The Death Canyon was the outer area of God's ruins. Yu Yang had obtained a treasure map from the Ares Temple previously. There must be some secret hidden in this treasure map. Of course, there was also the treasure place that the Bloody Queen mentioned. That was a place where a Gold King beast could level up and surpass its rank. The Bloody Queen's mother had entered that place and later ascended to the 4th floor of Tong Tian Tower or even higher. Of course, Yu Yang had to go and take a look. If a Gold King beast could level up, then Yi Kong's King Kong Demon Ape and the Li brothers' Ant Soldier would have the hope of leveling up. He could enter the puppet shrine and look at the ghost genius Yu Gong's precious inheritance and learn how to design new puppet beasts. He could heal Grandma Wu Tong's accumulated injuries, help her recover, and help the old cunning fox break through to the innate realm. He could explore the mysterious heaven stairway. Also, how to enter the world inside the grimoire, how to truly unleash the beast's potential and unearth the beast's potential and skills, train his own strength and fight against the great emperor of Ji Wei, Shun Tian, and the Thousand Goblin sect leader, as well as a few great demon kings and lich kings. There were too many things waiting for Yu Yang. Even if he was divided into 10 people, he wouldn't be able to finish so many things. Furthermore, if it wasn't for the fact that the Yu clan needed him to stay and encourage them, he would have already run back to the little flower garden to enjoy the sickly beauty's gentle service. The Yu clan's only hope now was Yu Yang. Everyone was afraid that this third young master would abandon them at this time. Every day, they had to see this brave and unparalleled third young master out for a stroll. Only then would they feel at ease and work energetically. Hence, Yu Yang could only stay behind temporarily. While he was busy with his own matters, he would also encourage his clansmen who were rebuilding their homes. They didn't need Yu Yang to do anything. As long as he stayed, they would be satisfied, unable to leave, and knowing that the Qilin girl knew how to refine pills. Yu Yang decided to learn from her first. Don't even think about immortal pills. He didn't have the materials to refine them. What Yu Yang could refine now was the martial arts pill that every warrior in the world yearned for. Although to the Qilin girl, the martial arts pill was similar to jelly beans, this was already all that Yu Yang could do. Qilin girl, what do you think of the effect? Would it be better if I add a little more God's due? When Yu Yang secretly learned from others, he was definitely very serious. Whatever your precious God's due is even worse than my family's well water. If I were you, I would add more. What's the point of being so thrifty? You won't be able to refine good pills if you save materials. Aya, that's right. Why don't you call my name? The Qilin girl was curious. You have a name? Yu Yang really didn't ask for a name before. Of course I do. The Qilin girl blinked her big eyes and looked at Yu Yang cutely. Don't you know that we, the Celestial Clan, have our own unique names? The Celestial Clan all have names? Then what are you called? Yu Yang was very curious about the Eastern Celestial Clan. He had always wondered if the old Taoist priest who kicked him to the soaring dragon continent was a powerful person from the Celestial Clan. If the old Taoist priest was too powerful, it would be too difficult for him to take revenge. However, if he really had a granddaughter, he could just kidnap one as compensation. Mother said that my throat is too soft. I shouldn't talk too much. The Qilin girl lowered her head and rushed towards Yu Yang. She wanted to enter the world inside the divine grimoire, but she didn't control her strength well. She first knocked Yu Yang to the ground, then turned into a rainbow light and floated in. Yu Yang even suspected that this girl did it on purpose. Thinking about it again, this Qilin girl was naturally dumb. Knocking him to the ground was probably the same as knocking into a pillar when she was walking. Shui Wuxia had been quietly watching Yu Yang concocting medicine. She also quietly listened to the conversation between him and the Qilin girl, never disturbing them. When Yu Yang needed it, she would cooperate with him and give him the medicine he needed. She would drip a drop of God's dew or pour a drop of life water for him. In any case, when Yu Yang needed it, she would be there. When Yu Yang was learning, she would become invisible. She definitely wouldn't affect the conversation between Yu Yang and the Qilin girl. Among all the girls, only she could do this. Yu Yang looked at the unfinished medicine on the table. It had been knocked over by the Qilin girl's dumb action just now. He sighed and was about to redo it again. However, Shui Wuxia stretched out her hand to stop him. She pointed at the medicinal liquid that was slowly emitting a faint light. Don't look, we've already succeeded. This It can't be, we're so lucky. When Yu Yang saw this, he was pleasantly surprised. He couldn't even concoct the medicine for half a day, but he succeeded just like that. Furthermore, he could sense that the medicinal liquid's energy was even better than the martial spirit pill recorded in the medicine encyclopedia. It was almost on par with a martial god pill. Why don't you suspect that the Qilin girl is helping us on purpose? Shui Wuxiao rolled her eyes at Yu Yang. Chapter 302. In other words, the new concoction wasn't a martial spirit pill, but a martial spirit pill liquid. Although Yu Yang had obtained the hard-shell dragon fruit from mercenary Zhong Hao, he was still lacking a supplementary ingredient, the snow lotus root. Without the snow lotus root, the martial spirit pill was only one step away from becoming a pill. For warriors, they needed a hard pill to slowly absorb the medicinal power, allowing their body to adapt and gradually improve. If it was a pill liquid that entered their stomach, their body might not be able to withstand it if they absorbed it too quickly. Another point was that the energy of the pill liquid would dissipate too quickly. Even if the warrior didn't explode after consuming it, he wouldn't be able to completely absorb the precious pill liquid, causing most of the energy to dissipate. In other words, consuming the pill liquid was not only dangerous, it was also a waste. However, the hard-shell dragon fruit and snow lotus root were very rare. Yu Yang had obtained the hard-shell dragon fruit before, and under Grandma Qi's hospitality, he had secretly stored some hard-shell dragon fruit juice. The main ingredient was not a problem at all. On the contrary, the snow lotus root was in short supply. It was said that the Western Lion Pagoda had cultivated it before, but Yu Yang and the Western Lion Pagoda were enemies, so he couldn't ask them for it. As for the other 10 supplementary ingredients, the Prince of Tianluo brought them from the Tianluo Palace. Shui Tianlang also represented the Shui clan and contributed some of their treasures. There were also many precious ingredients from the Xia Crown Prince and the other princes. Finally, the Yu clan's medicine collection was given to Yu Yang by the 2 elders for him to use. When second Uncle Yu Ling heard that he was going to refine a martial spirit pill, he asked awkwardly if he could give it to the crippled Yu Tian. Yu Ling's request to give the martial spirit pill to Yu Tian instead of his son Yu made Yu Yang a little surprised. He realized that this second uncle was serious and was not testing him. He also felt that this second uncle really had the concept of looking at the big picture after becoming the substitute clan master. It seemed like it was not a bad idea to let him become the substitute clan master. Yu Tian and Yu Yin had bullied the pitiful guy a lot in the past. Since Yu Yang had taken the pitiful guy's identity, he was naturally his enemy. If he had not gone through this great battle, he would rather feed the martial spirit pill to the dogs than give it to Yu Tian and the others. However, now that Yu Yang thought about it again, he was already an innate rancor. Why would he want to go against a bunch of ants who weren't even level 6 elders? At the very least, they did not betray the Yu clan, even when the fake Yu Qiu was suppressing the entire clan. Other than Yu Bao, that greedy fellow, Yu Tian and Yu Yin did not pledge their allegiance to the fake Yu Qiu. They could be considered to have the backbone of a Yu clan disciple. Yu Tian and Yu Yin were destined not to have a bright future. They would probably stay in the soaring dragon continent for the rest of their lives. In that case, Yu Yang made up his mind. I will only consider it if I have a lot left over. I don't have such plans for now. Let's see what happens in the future. Yu Yang didn't reject immediately, but he didn't agree immediately either. There were a lot of martial spirit dawn, so much that he couldn't finish them all. Yu Yang would consider giving him 2 Yuling dawn and letting him distribute them. Of course, Yu Yang guessed that such a situation was unlikely to happen. However, Yu Ling was overjoyed. He also knew that Yu Yang would not give the martial spirit dawn to the crippled Yu Tian first. It would be good enough if Yu Yang didn't kill Yu Tian and Yu Yin. Yu Ling's thoughts were similar to Yu Yang. If Yu Yang really had too many martial spirit dawn to finish one day, it would be good for Yu Tian and Yu Yan's future if he gave them 2 martial spirit dawn. Although it was impossible to finish all the martial spirit dawn, it was still a hope. Without the snow lotus root as a supplement, Yu Yang would not be able to use it. However, he had an extremely strong teacher, the Qilin girl. The Cheeling girl had never seen the snow lotus root before, but she understood immediately after reading the medicine encyclopedia. She felt that he could use the water of life and the white frost truffle to replace it. At the same time, he added the purple redstone grindstone fruit and the 3-leaved coxcomb flower. After trying, Yu Yang realized that the medicinal effect was slightly suppressed, but it became harder to absorb. Thus, he decided to add a tenth of the god's due as a supplement. Even Shui Wuxia secretly praised Yu Yang's bold attempt. It was a pity that Yu Yang did not have a good grasp of the fire when refining medicine, so he was unable to refine the pill. It was only until the Cheeling girl knocked Yu Yang down and mixed the ingredients again that he succeeded by chance. The medicinal liquid shone brightly. The martial spirit dawn medicinal liquid gradually evaporated and condensed into a pill. Yu Yang used the lightest amount of Nirvana's flame to refine this semi-finished product. After repeating it 3 times, he achieved great success. The room was filled with a strange fragrance that was refreshing to the heart. Just by smelling it, there was already a feeling of raising one's chi. If one consumed it and converted it into energy, it would definitely help a warrior who was stuck in a bottleneck to break through successfully. The 3 newly formed martial spirit dawn could be said to be of the highest quality. How could a normal pharmacist have the water of life and the gods due to refine martial spirit dawn? Especially with the Nirvana's flame as the finishing touch, it simply raised the martial spirit dawn by more than 1 grade. According to the Medicine Encyclopedia's evaluation, the martial spirit dawn was a 6th rank elixir. A 6th rank elixir was already a pill that a normal warrior could only dream of, and a 7th rank elixir was the limit of a normal warrior. If a normal warrior consumed an 8th rank elixir, their body would probably explode immediately. That was something that only an innate ranker could endure. Now, Yu Yang added the water of life and the god's due, and then used the Nirvana's flame to refine the martial spirit dawn. It broke through the 6th rank and reached the 7th rank, close to the 8th rank. After eating these 3 pills, Yu Yang did not doubt that they could help people break through, but he was worried that they would explode after eating them. It smells so good. The medicine is done. When Luo Hua City Mistress, Princess Qian Qian, and the other girls smelled the fragrance, they all rushed in and curiously stuck their heads out to watch. They looked at the 3 scarlet martial arts pills that Yu Yang had placed on the jade bowl. They stared at bloody Queen Red and Barbarian Cow Shadow Man with great anticipation. Bloody Queen Red and Barbarian Cow Shadow Man could still control themselves, but the thorny flower demoness was already drooling. If it wasn't for the fact that she was afraid that Yu Yang would be angry, she would have immediately grabbed the pill and stuffed it into her mouth. Hui Tai Lang tried his best to act like an obedient child. He knew that if he performed well, his master would reward him. Although these 3 pills did not contain as much energy as an innate orb, he could feel that his body craved this kind of energy. Hence, Hui Tai Lang was sure that these were good stuff. Yu Yang originally wanted to give City Mistress Fallen Flowers and Princess Sisai 1 each. This way, they would be able to awaken their abilities and level up to innate. City Mistress Fallen Flowers especially needed it the most. As for Shui Wuxia, she did not need it. This girl who loved to read books even had the power to surpass innate level 1. With her wisdom and comprehension, coupled with Yu Yang's dual training, Yin and Yang complementing each other, she would definitely be able to break through to innate level in a short period of time. The only thing he was worried about now was that this martial spirit pill was too high in rank, and its medicinal power was too strong. Qian Qian and Fallen Flowers would not be able to bear it. Princess Sisai looked at Yu Yang, then looked at Shui Wuxia. She suddenly shook her head lightly. I don't need it. Leave it for Yu Yu. Yu needs this pill more than me. Yu Yu hurriedly waved her hands to reject. No, don't waste it. It's useless for me to eat the martial spirit pill. I'm too far away from innate level. It's better to take it slow. I'll build my foundation first and think about it when there's a chance in the future. I'll definitely be able to make more martial spirit pills in the future. I don't need it now. Leave it for Bing Air. When Yu Bing heard this, her face instantly turned sweet. Her lips curled into an extremely cute arc, and she smiled. No need. With brother's help, I believe that I'll be able to reach innate level very soon. I'm improving very quickly now. I don't have any bottlenecks, so I don't need it at all. I think Sister Anan needs it the most. Vice Principal and Grandma Wu Tung also need it the most. Let's give it to the people who need it the most. City Mistress Fallen Flowers agreed. Her situation was similar to that of Yubing. Her strength had increased rapidly with Yu Yang's help. It was like 1,000 miles in a day. There were no bottlenecks, and they didn't need any pills. Moreover, Yu Yang would definitely not only refine 3 martial spirit pills. If there was a bottleneck in the future and he really couldn't break through, it wouldn't be too late to take it. Although Anan had improved in the great battle, she had a small bottleneck in her cultivation. She felt that her cultivation of mental energy was much slower than her sister's. Most importantly, Anan was seriously dissatisfied with her own battle prowess. She felt that Princess Sisai and City Mistress Fallen Flowers could help Yu Yang. Only she was still holding him back. Sister Wuhin could help him study runes, and Sister Wuxia was his best partner. Their tacit understanding was unparalleled. They were a match made in heaven. Under the light of her sisters, Anan felt that her little fiancé was very useless. If he took a martial spirit pill, he would be able to help Yu Yang like Sister Luo Hua did in the future. Why not? It was just that everyone didn't want it. She was the only one who ate it. It seemed a little embarrassing. Yu Yang caressed Anan's little head and said softly, "It's decided. I'll help you think of a way to control the power of the pill. I was very busy before and forgot to raise your strength. Now it's time to make up for it. Anan, you're the first." Anan saw him also caressing her head in front of her sisters. She was so embarrassed that she wanted to find a hole to hide in. Her little face seemed to be burning, making her blush and ears hot. Especially when she thought of the day when she lied to him that she was going to help her sister. She was actually arranging a marriage for her. She bravely put the jade on his neck and told him not to be like Liang Shanbo and Zhuing Tai, and to come find her. When Anan thought of the past, she was even more ashamed. Fortunately, none of the girls laughed at her. Fourth Mother even praised her for being brave and smart, a good daughter-in-law. After her identity was exposed, Anan didn't dare to look Yu Yang in the eye. She was deeply afraid that he would make fun of her for taking the initiative to marry him. Thinking about the past, Anan couldn't help but want to laugh. At that time, he was really amused. He completely thought that she was a man and said everything in his heart to her. He said, "Brother Anan, let's go pick up girls." He said, "Brother Anan, I'll introduce you to a big-breasted beauty." He also said, 2 pairs of shoes in front of the bed. Take off your clothes and put them on the floor. If he knew that she was a girl at that time, he definitely wouldn't be like that. He would definitely pretend to be serious. However, his seemingly ordinary but memorable thoughts on a quiet night really resonated with nostalgia. The bright moonlight in front of the bed, suspected to be the frost on the ground. Raising my head to look at the bright moon, lowering my head to think of my hometown. At that time, if he hadn't mentioned this poem, then she wouldn't have noticed him. She had always thought that he was a playboy, but she didn't expect that he only liked to fool around on the surface. Behind his back, whatever secrets he had, he would never say it out. Unless there was no other way, he would only show his hand. Anan fell in a deep thought. She remembered that day when she met him at the mercenary guild. This brat purposely teased her. He said that he didn't know how to write his name, so he named him Titan. He even said that Titan was a dwarf. Later on, she asked her aunt. Her aunt said that Titan was the tallest giant in the outer realm. He could even defeat giant dragons. Of course, she felt that something was wrong. She didn't think that she would still be fooled by him in the end. Strictly speaking, excluding Sister Wuxia, who was his betrothed, she should be the first girl he met, right? She gave him a jade pendant. She believed that she was the first girl to give him a love token, right? She wondered if he still carried her jade pendant with him. Anan shyly raised her eyes and looked at Yu Yang. She suddenly realized that the people around her had left, and she was the only one left. She immediately panicked. She wanted to turn around and leave, but Yu Yang grabbed her small hand. and Anne's heart was beating like a deer. She protested with a voice like a mosquito. Let go. There's a beauty's hand for me to hold. If I let go, wouldn't I be an idiot? Yu Yang didn't let go. Instead, he reached out to hug Anne, and Anne was extremely embarrassed. Looking at his wolf-like appearance, her body softened and she dodged. She lightly punched his big hand with her small fist, signaling him to let go of her. Her jade-like face was flushed red, and even her snow-white neck was burning red from embarrassment. Don't be like this. If you have something to say, just say it. And Anne dodged Yu Yang's hug and struggled a little. She realized that she couldn't break free from his fiery big hand. She didn't resist and let him hold her. The feeling of him holding her small hand seemed to be a very strange feeling. Her whole body felt warm. It was comfortable but also sad. In short, it was very strange. Yu Yang knew that he couldn't eat hot tofu if he was impatient. The little lamb belonged to him. He could eat it slowly. He pulled Anne's small hand and sat down. He deliberately leaned closer to look at her lowered head. She was happy and shy, but she didn't dare to make eye contact with him. Brother and Anne, we haven't talked for a long time. Why don't we talk about big-breasted beauties again? When Anne heard this, she couldn't help but raise her small fist and punch him. You're still talking. You liar. Tell me, did you really not know? Yu Yang smiled brightly and asked, if I really didn't know, what would you say? Then you're an idiot. And Anne burst out laughing. She remembered how he used to call her brother and Anne. It was really funny. What if I pretend not to know? Yu Yang asked again. Then you're a liar, a big liar. And Anne gave him a cute, supercilious look. She felt that he must have seen through her in the end. He just didn't say it. He even told her about the love story between Liang Shanbo and Zhuing Tai. He must be hinting that she was an idiot. Thinking about it again, she was so nervous that she put the jade on his neck. He must have laughed behind her back. What a hateful liar. And Anne punched him angrily. Unfortunately, when she looked up and saw his naughty smile, the strength of her punch suddenly became weaker than a mosquito. Do you like an idiot or a liar? Yu Yang moved closer, almost touching the tip of her nose. Who would like you? That's my aunt's decision. And Anne had a feeling that this bad guy wanted to kiss her. This made her very nervous. She found that her lips were tight and dry. It seemed that she was not prepared at all. He wanted to kiss her. What should she do? And Anne wanted to lick her lips first to ease her nervousness. But she was afraid that he could see that she was nervous. She was even more afraid that he would misunderstand that she was longing for his kiss. Yu Yang's lips were only a centimeter away from Anne's cherry lips. When he spoke, he would almost touch her lips. The hot breath he exhaled made her feel dizzy. And Anne was so nervous that her heart was pounding like a deer. In her heart pounding, she was so shy that she wanted to move away, but she was afraid that he would be angry. Most of all, her body also had a kind of desire. She did not dare to take the initiative to kiss him, but she was waiting. She knew that this bad guy would definitely kiss her. He was just teasing her. He wanted her to kiss him. That was impossible. She would definitely not let this bad guy succeed. Previously, when she was engaged to him, she gave him the jade pendant. Now that she kissed him, she absolutely could not. Do you want to hear a story? I'll tell you a story about Su Xian and the white snake. Do you want to hear it? Yu Yang gently blew on her delicate face, stimulating her face until it turned red and hot. And Anne was ashamed and angry. What kind of story was this? If he wanted to kiss her, then hurry up and kiss her. She could not hold on for long. Couldn't she tell the story later? Do you want to hear it? Yu Yang moved a little closer, almost touching her red lips. She could almost feel the heat from his lips. I want to bite you to death. And Anne frantically replied. If this brat did not kiss her, then she would be angry. Chapter 303. The fiery lips, the electric feeling, the almost suffocating breathing, and the beating heart that was difficult to suppress. And Anne felt like she was in a dream. It was extremely beautiful, but also hazy. It was so unreal. Now that she thought about it, she still couldn't believe it. Her first kiss was actually snatched away by that big bad guy before she could even feel it clearly. The memory left behind was like a dream, both clear and blurry. She could remember all the feelings, but not the process. She didn't remember when he started kissing her, and she didn't remember how she reacted at that time. All she could remember was his sometimes gentle, sometimes overbearing kisses. At first, it was especially gentle. The kiss was like a dragonfly skimming the surface of the water. It was a light footprint rubbing against her lips. When her whole body was electrocuted by that lingering touch, he kissed her again in a domineering manner. He opened her lips, forced his way in, and sucked on her little tongue, refusing to let go. Nan felt that compared to him, she seemed particularly clumsy, but he was very skilled, very skillful, kissing her until she couldn't breathe. The whole process was intoxicating. Nan only remembered that the kiss was very comfortable, and there was an indescribable, wonderful feeling. As for when she let him hold her in his arms, she couldn't remember. Greedy ghost! Nan remembered that he refused to let her rest for a while. He kissed her until her lips were swollen, but he still couldn't bear to let go. He kissed her over and over again, and his naughty hands were touching her body. If the vice president hadn't come, if it wasn't for Yu Bing, who was outside, using spiritual dialogue to inform him, she would probably still be hugged by him. When she thought of his greed just now, she couldn't help but want to spit at him. This greedy bad guy. If she didn't stop him, his naughty hands would have reached in her clothes. How does it feel to kiss? City Lord Fallen Flowers saw that Nan had been in a daze after returning to her room. She couldn't help but be a little curious. Was kissing really so wonderful? No, there's no that. Nan quickly denied. Really? City Lord Fallen Flowers saw that Nan's cherry lips were slightly swollen, and she was secretly amused. That brat Yang must have kissed her very hard. Otherwise, it wouldn't be like this. Of course, she didn't want to expose Nan either. She wanted to save some face for Nan, who had courageously given her the engagement token. Nan shook her head guiltily and lowered her head, not daring to look at the girls. Thinking back to the ecstasy of the kiss just now, she suddenly felt a surge of sweetness in her heart. She finally kissed him. Although she didn't do that bad thing with him, she could at least confirm that he had her in his heart. He always had. In another room, Yu Yang and the old cunning fox were having a secret conversation. They didn't want the girls to know what they were talking about, so that they wouldn't be worried. How's the Feng family? Yu Yang asked about fourth uncle. Before Yu Yang attacked the Yu clan castle for the second time, fourth uncle and Miss Feng had already been captured by the enemy. Although the enemy's speed was too fast, the Feng clan couldn't react in time and couldn't even see their shadows clearly. Yu Yang guessed that this was done by the Thousand Goblins sect, because the Thousand Goblins sect wanted to save the Thousand Goblins king, who was sealed in the Heaven Stairway. Fourth Mother was the key to opening the Heaven Stairway, and the only thing that could threaten her was the baby in Fourth Uncle and Miss Feng's womb. The Thousand Goblins sect captured Fourth Uncle to force Fourth Mother to tell them the secret of opening the Heaven Stairway. The old cunning fox had already visited the Feng clan and sighed. The Feng clan is unharmed, but the old master is very sad. He doesn't want anything else. He only hopes that you can save the little grandson in Miss Feng's womb. If Yang had enough time, he should be able to research the medicine to save Fourth Uncle and Miss Feng, especially with the Cheeling Girl's guidance. However, Fourth Uncle and Miss Feng have been captured by the enemy. He guessed that Fourth Uncle and Miss Feng's lives would be in danger. Even the baby in Miss Feng's womb would be in danger. If the enemy couldn't get the secret of the Heaven Stairway, the possibility of them killing the hostages was very high. Of course, even if they got the secret of the Heaven Stairway, there was still the possibility of them killing the hostages, unless they were lucky enough to find the enemy's lair and rescue them before the enemy could react. Fourth Uncle was poisoned. Even if he was rescued, it would be hard for him to live. Yu Yang didn't dare to tell Yu Bing about this. He could only hide it from her for the time being. What about Fourth Mother? Yu Yang asked about Fourth Mother's current situation. Before the Night Empress explored the 10th floor of Tong Tian Tower, she sent a maid to fetch her. Now your Fourth Mother and little Shuang are living in the Mirage. They are very safe. She knew about what happened to Fourth Uncle and was very sad. However, she said that you just have to protect your sister and don't act rashly. Be careful not to fall into the enemy's trap. The old cunning fox patted Yu Yang's shoulder and nodded. I think so too. Don't worry. I will act according to the situation. Yu Yang felt that he would have to fight with the 1,000 goblin sects sooner or later. He definitely couldn't avoid this battle. There seems to be a kind of medicinal smell. After the old cunning fox finished talking about the important matters, he sniffed and smelled the fragrance of the martial arts pill. Looks like the Xia Empire is about to give birth to the 8th innate. Yu Yang passed the jade bottle containing the martial arts pill to the old cunning fox. When the old cunning fox heard this, his hands trembled. He took the bottle and calmed himself down before pulling out the cork. A fragrant scent filled his nostrils and seeped into his lungs. His old face immediately turned red from excitement. He carefully held the jade bottle, afraid that his hands would shake and drop this treasure. After looking at it carefully, the old cunning fox suppressed the excitement in his heart and nervously coughed. You really succeeded? The medicinal power of this pill is really strong. Aren't you still lacking the snow lotus root? How did you manage to refine it? Yu Yang smiled mysteriously. Don't worry about it. I have successfully refined it, and it's a 7th grade pill. The old cunning fox looked at Yu Yang's eyes in disbelief. He was extremely surprised. 7th grade? You can even refine a martial arts pill to the 7th grade? Yu Yang waved his hands, indicating that this was child's play. He was simply too arrogant. If it was any other day, the old cunning fox would definitely give him a walking stick. However, right now, he was full of joy as he nodded his head. He felt that Yu Yang's arrogant expression made him especially happy. He kept nodding his head and couldn't stop smiling. Good boy. Look at your arrogance. Isn't it just a 7th grade martial arts pill? Is it really a 7th grade pill? It's too precious. I don't know if I can bear it. Looks like I have to prepare well. With you, I won't say thank you. This martial arts pill, I will accept it. Grandma Wu Tung was not here. Otherwise, Yu Yang would have given her the last pill to help her recover from the injuries that had not healed for many years. Princess Sisai found the ascetic practice saint to help the old cunning fox break through to the innate realm. Although Yu Yang was an innate, he was different from others. His experience of breaking through to the innate realm was useless to the old cunning fox. Besides, Yu Yang's innate invisible sword qi could not be made public. This unique innate martial art only belonged to him. The 2 heavenly imperial guardians, the ascetic practice saint and the scholar, came. They first selflessly imparted their own experiences to the old cunning fox. Then, they used their holy beast to guide the old cunning fox and help him absorb the martial arts pill to break through the bottleneck and break through to the innate realm. Yu Yang, Shui Wuxia, Princess Sisai, City Mistress Fallen Flowers, and the others all listened to the 2 seniors' experiences. Especially Shui Tanlang, Prince of Tian Luo, Yi Kong, and Fatty Hai. They listened attentively. This was because the experience of the ascetic practice saint and the scholar was something that they could only dream of. Shui Wuxia and Princess Sisai could do body fusion with Yu Yang. With Yu Yang's guidance, everyone could improve together and break through to the innate realm. However, Yi Kong and Fatty Hai did not have this possibility. They had to rely on their own cultivation to break through. Now that they had the guidance of the ascetic practice saint and the scholar, although it was still too early for them to break through to the innate realm, they at least had the knowledge and experience in this area. After taking the martial arts pill, the ascetic practice saint and the scholar supported each other with their holy beasts. Bit by bit, they absorbed the martial arts pill's power. After a day and a night, the old cunning fox finally managed to absorb the power of the pill. He slowly stimulated it and strengthened his body, officially breaking through to the innate realm. With the help of 2 holy beasts and his own gold-ranked level 7 guardian beast space, the old cunning fox finally exploded with all his power and broke through to the new realm. The ascetic practice saint and the scholar retreated 10 meters away, leaving everything to the old cunning fox. As long as he succeeded in breaking through, he would be able to step into the innate realm and become an innate. If he failed, he would be stuck below the innate realm for the rest of his life. The aura of the old cunning fox exploded, spreading out like a hurricane, blowing Yikong, Fatty High, and the others all over the place. His body shone with a golden light as his energy exploded to its peak. However, he was still unable to break through after a long time. The ascetic practice saint and the scholar were slightly nervous. As long as the peak of his energy passed, he would quickly become weaker. He would probably fail in breaking through to the innate realm. However, they were unable to help him at this moment. Otherwise, it would only disturb his state of mind and speed up his failure. The old cunning fox's face was purple gold. His clothes and beard fluttered, even though there was no wind. Waves of golden light surged from his grimoire and guardian beast, but he was still unable to break through. Seeing that he was about to fall back, Yu Yang couldn't help but become anxious and decided to help him. He didn't care about the consequences. Since he was about to fail, he might as well treat a dead horse as a living one. This was his last gamble. According to what he saw with his level 5 divine vision, Yu Yang gathered his innate chi in both of his hands and fiercely punched the old cunning fox's life gate acupuncture point on his back. He channeled his innate chi into the old cunning fox's spine and channeled it into the old cunning fox's meridians. He then pressed his palm on the old cunning fox's head and channeled his innate chi into the old cunning fox's body, helping the old cunning fox to regain his consciousness. When the old cunning fox was concentrating, he received a heavy blow and spat out a mouthful of blood. His body swayed, and he almost fainted. He suddenly lost control of his energy. Instead, it allowed Yu Yang to receive it easily and guided it together. His control was even more ingenious than the old cunning fox's, and he officially broke through to the innate realm. Boom! A loud sound rang out. Yu Yang's entire body was sent flying, floating in the air. Above the old cunning fox's head, his grimoire, and his guardian beast, a golden light surged out and intertwined with each other, forming a pillar of light that rose 20 meters into the sky. The light did not disperse for a long time. This phenomenon was the sign of an innate rancor breaking through to the innate realm. That pillar of light represented the potential of its owner after they broke through to the innate realm. Everyone was different. A normal innate rancor's pillar of light was on average 10 meters. Those who didn't have innate strength and were forcefully leveled up by others, such as Tu Cheng and Kuang Zhan from the Thousand Goblins sect, Kai Yang, Tian Quan, and Yao Guang from the Seven Great Bears. Their pillars of light were usually only around 5 meters. It was impossible for them to exceed 10 meters. The old cunning fox's pillar of light was 20 meters. He was already considered to be a very good innate. His potential was considered to be outstanding. Of course, no one could be compared to Yu Yang, this abnormal person. No one knew how high Yu Yang's pillar of light was when he broke through to the innate realm. Because it was so high that it could be seen from 100 miles away, it was hard to estimate. If not for Yu Yang's high potential, he would not have caused such a sensation in the world. Fortunately, no one saw it. Otherwise, Yu Yang would not be able to continue to level up, and trouble would come knocking on his door. Not bad. I didn't expect you to have a pillar of light that was more than 20 meters when you broke through. With this potential, you would be able to break through to innate level 5 in the future. Looks like the Daxia Kingdom will have another heavenly Imperial Guardian. The scholar congratulated the ascetic practice saint. Not all innates could become heavenly Imperial Guardians. One had to at least reach innate level 5 to become a heavenly Imperial Guardian. Only then would they have the ability to protect the kingdom. What makes me the happiest is that little Yu Yang seems to know how to guide his energy at the last moment to break through to the innate realm. The ascetic practice saint was in a good mood. Not only could he see it, even Yikong, Fatty High, and the others could see it. Actually, when the old cunning fox was trying to break through to the innate realm, he almost failed. It was Yu Yang who pulled him back with one hand and guided his energy to explode again, officially breaking through to the innate realm. Although Yu Yang only took action for a few seconds, the value and contribution he made was much greater than the ascetic practice saint, and the scholar using their holy beast to help them for a day and a night. With Yu Yang's Dao Yin technique, the chances of everyone failing to break through to the innate realm would be greatly reduced. The old cunning fox looked up to the sky and let out a long cry. Beside him, his guardian beast's space turned into a transparent mirror-like fragment, continuously rotating and changing, reflecting countless strange lights. Looks like it had also leveled up. When he finished his long cry, the shattered space gathered back into a ball and entered the grimoire. At this moment, the innate realm was officially completed. The old cunning fox, who was floating in the air, slowly descended. When he looked at Yu Yang again, tears streamed down his face. He tightly hugged this student who had given him miracles everywhere. With his help, he had officially bid farewell to being a normal warrior and stepped into the innate realm, truly becoming a strong warrior. Congratulations, teacher. This was the first time Yu Yang had called the old cunning fox teacher. Good, good. The old cunning fox patted Yu Yang's shoulder. He was so excited that he couldn't speak. The ascetic practice saint and the scholar also came over to congratulate the old cunning fox for becoming an innate. Although the old cunning fox was only innate level 1, with his potential, his strength would not be inferior to the two of them in the future. Furthermore, the old cunning fox's inherent skill was the extremely rare time teleportation. They believed that time teleportation would definitely be developed in his hands. Looking at Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, the Li brothers, Shui Tanlang, and Prince of Tian Luo's envious eyes, Yu Yang smiled slightly. Train hard. I believe that you guys will join the ranks of innate rankers in no time. His words caused Yi Kong and the others' morale to soar, their blood to boil. The innate realm was just in front of them. Would it still be far away? With the martial arts pill, Yu Yang's guidance, the experience of the ascetic practice saint and the scholar, the two heavenly imperial guardians, and the old cunning fox's example, would it still be far to break through to the innate realm? The only thing they were lacking was one thing, and that was their own hard work. This was something that Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others did not lack. Shui Wuxia and Princess Sisai looked at each other. They did not say anything, but they knew that the two of them would be the 9th and 10th innate rankers into Xia. Chapter 304. With the stimulation of the old cunning fox becoming an innate, Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others trained even harder day and night. Even the ice cube man Shui Tanlang, who liked to train alone, stayed behind. Usually, other than training by themselves, they would also challenge Hui Tai Lang, Barbarian Cow Shadow on Man, Thorny Flower Demonis, and the others. Their courage was commendable, but they were definitely asking for trouble. Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others were beaten up by Hui Tai Lang until the fallen flowers were almost all skinny. Fortunately, Hui Tai Lang and Barbarian Cow Shadow on Man were beasts that fought with their lives on the line. Normally, they wouldn't be able to unleash their full strength during training, otherwise they would have lost even more miserably. The old fox stayed behind to guide them, and the ascetic practice saint would come over from time to time. The ascetic practice saint mainly guided Shui Tanlang, while the scholar guided Prince of Tian Luo. When Yi Kong and Fatty Hai saw that they were at a disadvantage, they went to look for Yu Yang. In order to avoid being harassed, Yu Yang spent 3 days to create a new battle skill for them according to their situation. Yu Yang combined Yu Chio's heaven-destroying Earth Slash, the Jun family royal family's Emperor's Sword Qi, Machi Su Ling's Heavy Pressure, Duan Mu Long Cheng's Weaken, Marquis of Zijin's Teleportation, and even the Eastern Goblin Tribe's 9-headed Goblin Marshal's Transformation and Demon Marshal Duran's Dark Summoning to create a great totem battle technique. This was an extremely shameless group fighting technique. The more people involved, the more powerful it would be. At the same time, it was a kind of formation. Yu Yang used the black obsidian and meteorite iron that he refined from the King of Blacklight's body, combined with the heaven runes, and combined it with the totem pole ideas that Yu Yang had learned from playing online games before he transmigrated to this world, to create a unique rune totem pole. Since Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others couldn't use their domain of power now, they would use their totem poles to replace their domain of power. By inscribing the heaven runes on the totem, within a certain range, it would produce an effect similar to a domain. This was Yu Yang's copycat idea. Although the idea was a knockoff, its power and effect were very good. The ascetic practice, saint, and the calligrapher praised it greatly. Under Yu Yang's shameless plagiarism and copying, the great totem battle technique was born. First, he forged 4 totem pillars. Other than Yi Kong, who used a totem pole as his weapon, Fatty Hai and the Li brothers each carried a totem pole on their backs. Once the battle began, they would first insert the totem poles with the 3 negative effects of weakness, gravity, and darkness into the battlefield. Then, when they unleashed their power, they would attack together. The more totem poles he inserted into the ground, the more powerful they would be after they were connected, and the wider the range would be. As for the combat skill, it was the Great Totem Combat Skill, which was based on the destructive sword slash, supplemented by the Emperor's sword Qi, and had the special effects of teleportation and transformation. Yi Kong and Fatty Hai mainly focused on transformation, especially Fatty Hai. He had already been able to transform into a behemoth in the past, so he definitely wouldn't have any problems. Shuetan Lang and Prince of Tianluo mainly focused on teleportation. Anyway, even if he didn't teach them, they would still learn it secretly. Yang might as well be generous and teach them both. As for the Li brothers, other than supporting them in attack, they were also responsible for protecting the totem poles. If it wasn't for the lack of materials, Yu Yang wanted Shui Tanlang and Prince of Tianluo to carry totem poles on their backs as well. It would be best if they could carry one and insert one. In any case, the Great Totem Combat Skill created by Yu Yang was an extremely shameless group fight tactic. A single person wouldn't be able to unleash its full power, but the more people there were, the more powerful the group fight would be. During the testing phase, not to mention normal warriors, even the old fox who had just become an innate almost suffered a huge loss. This was just the beginning. Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others hadn't unleashed their full power yet. They had just learned the combat skill and hadn't fully understood it yet. Their coordination wasn't good enough either. When Yi Kong, Fatty Hai, and the others had truly mastered it and unleashed 100% of its power, they should have no problem fighting against innates like the 7 Great Bears, Yao Guang, and Tian Quan. Jun Wu Yu, Elder Yu Hai, and the others hadn't returned yet. The Yu clan castle was being rebuilt by the second Uncle Yu Ling. In addition to the fact that the enemies had disappeared without a trace, everything was peaceful for the time being. Yu Yang decided to put aside his lack of materials for concocting pills and alchemy first and busied himself with other things. He left Hui Tai Lang behind to train with Yi Kong and the others, torturing them, while he brought Shui Wuxia and the others back to the Little Flower Garden. Other than training body fusion with the girls during the day and leveling up together, he also enjoyed his blissful sexual life to the fullest at night. Sickly Beauty was becoming more and more like a virtuous wife. More accurately, it was Yu Yang's teaching ability that was too strong. Previously, there were many embarrassing actions that Sickly Beauty didn't know or was unwilling to do, but under his seduction, she tried them on him one by one. This made Yu Yang feel extremely good these days, as happy as a deity. Although Princess Sisai and City Mistress Fallen Flowers' rooms were far apart, they could often hear Sickly Beauty's distinctive panting and moaning at night. This was especially clear when Yu Yang did something naughty that Sickly Beauty couldn't endure. Princess Sisai, who had the 6 records' inherent skill, was more vexed. It seemed that having sensitive ears wasn't always a good thing. However, the one who was most vexed wasn't her, but Yu Yu. She knew that husband and wife had this kind of exercise in bed. It was very normal. She even hoped that Sickly Beauty would give birth to a white and fat son for Yu Yang, so that the 3rd and 4th branches would have a successor. However, when she unintentionally heard these sounds, she would still feel extremely embarrassed. After all, her identity was the older sister. There weren't many rooms in the Little Flower Garden. Furthermore, as Yu Yu's strength continued to increase, her eyes and ears became clearer. When it was late at night, no matter how much she covered her head with the blanket, she would still be able to faintly hear some sounds. What made Yu even more frustrated was that although her willpower was very resistant and unwilling to listen to these sounds, she often scolded herself in her heart. However, once there was a sound, her willpower wouldn't be able to overcome her body's instincts. Her ears would always be able to acutely capture the faintly discernible sounds. As if she longed to hear these kinds of shameful sounds, her heartbeat would increase along with sickly beauty's light panting. In the beginning, she couldn't adapt to this kind of life. However, she found that Shui Wuxia, Princess Sisai, and Castellan Fallen Flowers all appear to be completely fine, so she couldn't take the initiative to ask to leave. After a few more days, she found that she had already gotten used to listening to the light sounds of her brother and sister-in-law having fun at night. If she hadn't heard them, she would even have a strange feeling of not being able to sleep well. The happiest one was Yubing. She was tired from training during the day, but slept especially soundly at night. Moreover, Yu Yang would always cover her with a blanket and only go back to enjoy himself after seeing her sleep well. As for Anan, her relationship with Yu Yang developed rapidly. The reason was that Yu Yang would tell her stories every day to coax her. Something about the butterfly lovers, something about Su Xian and the white snake, something about Romeo and Juliet. Everything could be fresh and different every day. Anan wanted to laugh, but Yu Yang told her about Hua Mulan's disguise as a soldier to make her laugh. If she wanted to hear a more tragic story, he would tell her about Du Shenyang angrily sinking her treasure chest. If it was more tragic, he would tell her about how Li Qingzhao met a swindler and got married again and was imprisoned. If it was more tragic, he would tell her about how Lu Rushi, one of the 8 beauties of Qinhuai, was humiliated and hanged herself. If she wanted to hear about the lingering love story that lasted for thousands of years, there were also stories about Meng Jiangnu crying and collapsing the Great Wall, or Farewell, My Concubine. So much so that when Yu Yang threw down his school bag and vividly told the poignant love story of Lu Yu and his cousin Tang Wan, as well as the poem Phoenix on a Hairpin, all the girls in the room cried. Red hands, yellow tongue wine. The whole city is filled with spring, the palace walls and willows. The east wind is evil, love is thin, a heart full of melancholy, a few years of separation, wrong, wrong, wrong. Spring is still the same. I'm thin and empty, tears stained red. The silk of the mermaid penetrates. Peach blossoms fall. The leisure pond pavilion. Although the promise is there, the brocade letter is hard to trust. No, no, no. In order to woo girls, Yu Yang remembered Lu Yu's poem Phoenix on a Hairpin very clearly. Of course, this was also related to his innate invisible sword Qi, which increases memory by 100 times. Now, if he wanted to recall what he had learned in the past, he could remember it very clearly, almost instantaneously. If he had this kind of memory ability in the past, he wouldn't even need to revise to get good grades. When this poem, Phoenix on a Hairpin, appeared, even Shui Wuxia, who usually wouldn't be easily moved, strongly requested him to write down Lu Yu's cousin Tang Wan's reply. In the end, Yu Yang could only throw down his school bag again. The world's feelings are thin. Human feelings are evil. The rain sends dusk flowers fall easily. The dawn wind dries. The tear stains remain. I want to write my heart's worries. Lonely words slanted. Difficult, difficult, difficult. People are separated. Today is not yesterday. The sick soul has tasted the autumn rope. The horn sounds cold. The night wanes. Afraid of people asking, I swallow my tears and pretend to be happy. Hide, hide, hide. Now, finally, no one doubted that Yu Yang couldn't compose poems. At first, Shui Wuxia suspected that this brat was just making up stories to coax Anan and only smiled at Romeo and Juliet. However, as she listened, she felt that something was wrong. The story of the white snake even had a love song, and the song, Farewell, My Concubine, was even more desolate. Although Yu Yang couldn't sing that kind of feeling, Shui Wuxia could hear that the melody could easily cause people to resonate with it, making people's hearts tremble. If it was a girl who sang it, it would be incredible. It could be said that this brat could sing, but he definitely couldn't compose poems. This required talent. Yu Yang, this brat, had the talent to compose poems? Shui Wuxia had always suspected that he had read about it in some ancient book. He probably knew how to weave 2 pairs of shoes in front of the bed and play those kinds of obscene poems on the floor when he took off his clothes. Afterwards, Yu Yang talked more and more, coaxing Anan to the point that she was beaming with joy. Shui Wuxia, Princess Sisai, City Mistress Fallen Flowers, and you were secretly shocked. Which ancient book could contain so many stories? Which ancient book would have so many amazing poems in it? Even Shui Wuxia, who had read a lot of books, had never seen such poems and love stories before. Even Sickly Beauty, who had studied many ancient texts and runes, had never seen such a thing in her life. Everyone guessed that there were only 2 possibilities. First, this brat had some kind of godlike intuition and could dream about things that others didn't know. Second, this brat was an abnormal genius. Not only did he practice martial arts, but he also knew how to write poems and make up stories. Although he didn't use it for the right purpose, he only used it to coax little girls. After discussion, everyone felt that these 2 possibilities were possible. The reason was that this brat could improve his skills when he slept. Maybe there really was some godlike guidance in his dreams. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to improve just by sleeping. Sometimes, when Yu Yang encountered difficulties, he could solve the problem by sleeping. There must be something different about this brat, but everyone just didn't know. This was the first reason. As for the second reason, the girls didn't doubt Yu Yang's genius. This brat could create such an abnormal and shameless martial art like the great totem battle skill. It wouldn't be difficult for him to make up a short story to coax Anan. Moreover, he had a previous record. When he first met Anan, he pretended to be illiterate and asked her to help him fill out a form to sign up as a mercenary. He even gave him the name Titan. Yu Yang, who shouldn't have even heard of the Outer Realm and didn't even know what Titan was. How could he give a name Titan? He even said ironically, saying that Titan was a dwarf. This proved that he knew and was very clear about the Outer Realm. Yu Yang's ability to write poems was probably related to his mother's inheritance of knowledge. Maybe Lu Yu and Tang were people from ancient times. Their stories weren't passed down, but Yu Yang's mother knew about it through ancient documents and passed this knowledge to her son. That was why Yu Yang knew these secrets that others didn't know about. Yu Yang, work hard and write a more emotional poem next time. Shui Wuxia patted Yu Yang's shoulder. Before the girls could react, she put away the 2 phoenix hairpin poems. Mine must be different, and it must be a top-grade poem. Princess Sisai glared at Yu Yang with her tigress eyes. It's okay to write a few more. I like poems and songs. If you can sing while watering my flowers, that would be great. City Mistress Fallen Flowers smiled, but if Yu Yang didn't agree, she would twist his ear. Do you think this is giving birth? I don't have one in my stomach. Forget it, it's not that hard. Yu Yang carried the flag of plagiarism. Damn it, what was there to be afraid of if he didn't know how to write poems? He had read 300 Tang poems. Even if he didn't know how to write them, he could still steal them. At most, he could just memorize them. As long as he could win the hearts of beauties, memorizing a poem wasn't difficult at all. After memorizing Tang poems, he would memorize song poems. After memorizing Chinese, he would memorize Western poems. Whatever Goethe, Heine, or Byron, he would use them all. To pick up girls, he had to be bold, careful, and thick-skinned. As long as he could pick up girls, plagiarism was nothing. Brother is so awesome. Yu Bing worshipped her brother even more now. As for Anan, she decided to keep him at night and watch a butterfly pair with him. No butterflies at night? Then she would use a hallucinatory butterfly instead. Chapter 305. The meteorite essence iron that was refined from the King of Blacklight's corpse was mostly used by Yu Yang to refine the totem pole. The rest was used by Yu Yang to reforge the crescent blade. The bronze-ranked crescent blade could no longer support the usage of Yu Yang, an innate rancor. Even the Huijin magic blade that had leveled up to gold-ranked urgently needed to be leveled up. Otherwise, Yu Yang would fall into the awkward situation of not having a weapon to use. Of course, the gold-ranked dragon-slaying dagger could be used, but the assassin-style Bloody Queen Red needed a good dagger more than Yu Yang. Yu Yang now had more heaven runes, materials, and the best Nirvana's flame. He could totally reforge a weapon that was more suitable for himself. After adding the meteorite essence, iron, and black obsidian, the reforged crescent blade's quality was upgraded to silver ranked. The appearance of the crescent blade was more like Hui Jin's current appearance to Yu Yang, but the appearance was bigger and heavier. Yu Yang then used a few gold-ranked magic crystals to inject energy into the crescent blade. At the same time, he used Nirvana's flame to carve the ancient rune, everlasting, and the heaven rune, frost and sharpness. After painstakingly carving and carving for 3 days, the crescent blade's quality was upgraded to gold-ranked. It could completely support Yu Yang's innate Chi's attack or defense. Because the crescent blade's quality was upgraded, it was officially named. Yu Yang named it Crescent Moon. As for the Hui Jin magic blade, Yu Yang didn't need to reforge it too much. It had the molten flame core and the demon dragon's crystal. As long as it continuously absorbed fire and dark energy, it could continue to upgrade. After many battles, the two of them absorbed a lot of energy. Yu Yang even used the Magma Wyvern's magic crystal and the Demon General's demon heart for Hui Jin to absorb in large amounts, allowing it to continue to evolve. Yu Yang even wanted to merge the demon orb he obtained from killing the Dark Gold Inspector, the strange orb that contained the destructive power of emptiness, into the Hui Jin magic blade to upgrade its quality. Unfortunately, the molten flame core and the demon dragon's crystal were extremely afraid of this orb. Even now, the two were still unable to resist the demon orb. Yu Yang was worried that if he released the Dark Gold Inspector, the molten flame core, and the demon dragon crystal, these two low-level artifact spirits would shatter. He even suspected that the Dark Gold Inspector wasn't truly dead and was still hiding inside the demon bead. He could only put aside the matter of fusing with the demon beads for now. Yu Yang had been continuously upgrading his Hui Jin magic blade even before he upgraded it into a crescent moon. At first, Yu Yang didn't dare to directly use the Nirvana flame on the Hui Jin magic blade. The Nirvana flame could purify everything in the world, and the Hui Jin magic blade couldn't withstand it. He chose to use the fake Nirvana flame that was burning on top of the stone element Medusa's head. After the molten flame core had adapted to the fake Nirvana flame, it evolved into the flame core, and its fire energy became purer. However, because the demon dragon's crystal did not have the best energy replenishment, the Hui Jin magic blade was still gold-ranked and couldn't be upgraded to platinum-ranked. While pursuing Duan Mu Long Cheng, Yu Yang teleported to the Devil Palace. After destroying the Demon King's statue, Yu Yang obtained a huge magic crystal. This magic crystal was probably made from hundreds or even thousands of high-grade magic crystals and was used to maintain the shape of the Demon King's statue. Even though Yu Yang was fighting with the 3 great Demon Kings and 2 great Lich Kings, he didn't forget to keep the magic crystal and brought it back. With the energy of this huge magic crystal, the demon dragon's heart received the best replenishment. At the same time that the Hui Jin magic blade was upgraded to platinum-ranked, Yu Yang carefully inserted a bit of Nirvana flame into it to refine the flame core. In the end, half of the flame core's evil consciousness was destroyed, while the other half's bloodthirsty consciousness was preserved because Yu Yang tried his best to control it. The flame core that was almost destroyed leveled up again, becoming a true fire core that contained a bit of Nirvana flame. Its power was even greater than the Demon Dragon's crystal that had absorbed a large amount of dark energy and Demon King's evil energy. Yu Yang engraved the heaven runes blood-sucking and energy-sucking on the upgraded Hui Jin magic blade. As for the ancient runes, Yu Yang felt that the Hui Jin magic blade might be able to evolve to diamond-ranked. He didn't go through the permanent solidification for the time being and let it evolve automatically. Moreover, there might be better ancient runes in the future. Yu Yang didn't want to limit the evolution of Hui Jin magic blade. The platinum-ranked Hui Jin magic blade had 2 remnant spirits. In this world, it could definitely be considered a wholly ranked existence. Moreover, it was unique and could only be used by its owner, Yu Yang. If it was someone else, even if they obtained the Hui Jin magic blade, their body would be invaded by the 2 remnant spirits of Hui Jin magic blade. They would suck blood, absorb energy, and devour the person who stole it. Only Yu Yang could truly use it. Only the designer, Yu Yang, could unleash the true power of this terrifying magic weapon. Such a terrifying magic blade. It can't be called a holy ranked weapon. I think it's more appropriate to call it a magic weapon! Princess Sisai evaluated the newly upgraded Hui Jin magic blade. Hui Jin, it should be able to evolve to diamond ranked in the future. At that time, adding the meteorite gold essence, Emperor's obsidian heart, ancient runes, and even immemorial runes, I think it will become a divine weapon in the end. Shui Wuxia also felt that the Hui Jin magic blade still had a lot of room for improvement. The Crescent Moon blade didn't have a spirit, and it couldn't absorb energy automatically. No matter how much Yu Yang forged it, there wouldn't be much improvement. Platinum ranked was probably the limit of the Crescent Moon blade. But Hui Jin was different. Its future was limitless, just like Hui Tai Lang among the beasts. Hui Tai Lang continuously absorbed fire, gold, and darkness energy, especially the demon clan's demon heart, which continuously provided it with energy. From demon soldier to demon general, demon commander, demon marshal, and even demon king in the future. If Hui Tai Lang continued to eat and evolve, its future would be even more limitless. If Yu Yang killed more Eastern Goblin tribesmen in the future, the Eastern Goblin tribesmen's orbs would also be a great supplement. Compared to Hui Tai Lang, who actively fought and evolved, the Hui Jin magic blade would be more passive, and its evolution speed would be much slower. Most importantly, although it had two artifact spirits, the two artifact spirits were only remnants of their consciousness, and they were still vaguely hostile towards each other. Furthermore, no matter how conscious Hui Jin was, it wouldn't be able to have Hui Tai Lang's intelligence. Hui Jin definitely couldn't be compared to other beasts like Hui Tai Lang. It could only be ranked as the leader among the weapons if Shui Wuxia's ancient book, which also had a spirit and could level up continuously, didn't compete with it for the position of the leader. After the weapons were upgraded, Yu Yang prepared to bring Yu Bing and Inan to the depths of the Despair Abyss, to search for the injured dragon turtle that the Night Empress had mentioned. The Black Tortoise Orb, one of the four symbols orbs, was also one of the necessities that the Night Empress wanted Yu Yang to gather. Before that, Yu Yang decided to abduct a lady of smoke and flame. She was obviously his guardian beast, but she always hid in the dimension of duel and refused to come out. This wouldn't do. The spirit of smoke and flame was originally the big-breasted tavern girl. She had lost her human body and her original thoughts, and only had a little bit of consciousness left. Yu Yang had brought Yu Bing and the others to visit her many times, but he found out that she could only barely recognize herself. She couldn't remember anything from the past at all. Maybe she had already become a beast and no longer had her original human thoughts. After not seeing her for a period of time, the spirit of smoke and flame had actually leveled up from silver ranked level 1 to silver ranked level 3. It seemed that the flame trap that Tu Cheng and Quang Zhan had laid together had stimulated the energy of the magma, giving her a lot of nutrients. Now, she was even more smoky and hotter, and when she transformed, she looked more like a human. At first, she was vigilant towards Yu Yang's arrival, but after sensing him clearly and realizing that it was Yu Yang, she immediately became happy again. Her smoky body rolled in the sky, drawing a long pillar of smoke and spewing flames as she rushed towards Yu Yang. I have a magic crystal. You will definitely like it. Yu Yang used his trump card and took out the Sand Beast's magic crystal that had been tempered with Nirvana Flame. The Sand Beast was a gold-ranked level 8 Storm King. To the spirit of smoke and flame, its magic crystal was even more dangerous than candy to a child. As long as she absorbed this gold-ranked level 8 magic crystal that had been tempered with Nirvana Flame, the spirit of smoke and flame would definitely evolve to gold-ranked, or even platinum-ranked. Forget about the spirit of smoke and flame. Even the Bloody Queen Red would want this magic crystal. However, Yu Yang felt that the spirit of smoke and flame would be more suitable, so he chose to give this pure elemental magic crystal to the spirit of smoke and flame in the end. Yu Yang didn't say anything, but he was grateful for the help that the tavern girl had given him when she was still alive. He was especially touched when she and her sisters risked their lives to save Fourth Mother. Although he couldn't resurrect the tavern girl and turn her back to her original form, Yu Yang still hoped that she could evolve into a holy beast, have a new mind and a new life. When the spirit of smoke and flame saw this, she immediately rushed towards Yu Yang excitedly, wanting to swallow the magic crystal in his hand. She didn't have the reserved thoughts of a human anymore. She only had her instincts. "Do you want it?" Yu Yang tempted the spirit of smoke and flame evilly, just like how Uncle Strange Uncle tempted the little lowly. He raised the storm core magic crystal and shook it in front of the spirit of smoke and flame. "Follow me, understand?" Yu Yang summoned the silver grimoire that had leveled up after the battle and signaled the spirit of smoke and flame to accept his summon. The grimoire leveled up after the battle. So did Yu Yang's inherent skill. Actually, what Yu Yang wanted the most was for the thorny flower demoness to become his guardian beast, or for the barbarian Cow Shadow, Bloody Queen Red, and the others to obtain some kind of skill. Unfortunately, Yu Yang's wishes weren't fulfilled. He only leveled up his inherent skill and Gemini inherent skill. His level 5 Divine Vision inherent skill didn't even level up. The leveling up of Gemini inherent skill allowed Yu Yang to obtain a skill called Spirit Pacification. He could only use it on his own beast for the time being. Through Spirit Pacification, he could release his beasts from their negative emotions. Now, Yu Yang used Spirit Pacification. He tried his best to let the spirit of smoke and flame sense his own soul and let her eliminate her hostility. He didn't know if it was the temptation of the Storm Core or the effect of Spirit Pacification. After receiving the Storm Core, the spirit of smoke and flame accepted Yu Yang's recall summon. She turned into a wisp of smoke and returned to the grimoire. This was the first time she listened to Yu Yang's summon. Seeing that Yu Yang had successfully recalled the spirit of smoke and flame, Yu Bing and Inan, who didn't dare to open their mouths and disturb Yu Yang, immediately cheered. As long as the spirit of smoke and flame absorbed the Storm Core's energy, the next summon might be the gold-ranked Smoky Flame Girl. Yu Yang lacked an element-type beast, and now the Smoky Flame Girl could fill this gap. After recalling the Smoky Flame Girl, Yu Yang brought Yu Bing and Inan to the Despair Abyss. They returned to the campsite that was besieged by the demonic palace's followers that day, and prepared to use this as a base to advance towards the center of the Despair Abyss to look for the injured dragon turtle. Coming to the Despair Abyss for the second time, not only Yu Yang, even Yu Bing's strength had increased 100-fold. The three of them ignored the curious gazes of the mercenaries and left on their own. Yu Bing summoned the Tree Man and sat on the Tree Man's shoulder with her brother as they walked towards the center of the Despair Abyss. Inan didn't summon the Silver Pegasus like she usually did. Instead, she sat beside Yu Yang and hugged onto Yu Yang's arm like Yu Bing. She turned her head and chatted happily with Yu Bing. Inan and Yu Yang's relationship had improved greatly. She was still a little shy in front of Shui Wuxia and Princess Sisai, but in front of Yu Bing, she had already tacitly accepted her identity as her future sister-in-law. Silver-ranked, level 5, Tree-Man General. A mercenary leader who knew his stuff was dumbfounded when he saw the Tree Man that was rumbling away. Mount! Yu Yang had been thinking about the mount along the way. The Qilin girl was unwilling to be his mount. Otherwise, it would be even more perfect. How could he convince this lost girl who had no home to return to? This was really a difficult problem. Chapter 306. Yu Bing had a hard time exploring the Despair Abyss. There were countless spiders, all kinds of strange snakes, demon eagles, giant bats, fire ants, demonic bees, and other monsters. Yu Bing had suffered a lot during her training. After the 12 Zodiac Temples, the 100 School Elite Competition, rescuing her mother, and returning to the Yu Clan Castle, Yu Bing had grown up. Because of Yu Yang's careful guidance and the rewards from the 12 Zodiac Temples, Yu Bing's strength had already surpassed Yi Kong and Fatty Hai, suppressing the 3 great killing stars. Currently, only Shui Tan Lang had a slight advantage due to his beast's attributes. The others like Feng Qisha and Yin Pejun had already lost their lead after Yu Bing's Treant evolved into a 1,000-year-old Treant general. In terms of combat skills, other than Yu Yang's careful guidance, Shui Wuxia and Princess Isai had also taught her with their female experience. Yu Bing's strength was improving by leaps and bounds every day. Yu Yang, this competent brother, was even preparing to create a combat skill that was most suitable for Yu Bing. After the 100-school elite competition and many battles, Yu Bing's agility and attack power were already very impressive. The Trent's entanglement, tree thorns, and intense poison were also very effective. The only thing she lacked was her defense. Yu Yang was thinking if he should make her an extremely good armor, just like the Qilin girl's Qilin armor. It was a pity that the Qilin girl was still wary of Yu Yang and did not allow him to touch her clothes. Otherwise, Yu Yang would want to study her heavenly robe. With Yu Yang by her side and Inan's mental support, Yu Bing commanded the 2,000-year-old Treant generals to kill everything in their way, advancing deeper into the abyss without any obstructions. Bloody Queen Red did not even need to do anything. She was only responsible for collecting magic crystals. As for the Thorny Flower Demoness, she was about to evolve into the Golden Crown Thorny Flower Queen and was currently in hibernation. Her corpse could only be wasted. The Reaper Mantis kept circling in the sky, chasing away those flying beasts. Although the current Reaper Mantis was not as strong as its mother, it was still a Gold King beast. Having just leveled up to Gold ranked level 4, it still didn't know how to conceal its own aura like the Bloody Queen Red. When the Golden King beast's aura was released, the low-leveled flying beasts in the Despair Abyss feared it like a tiger. The moment they saw it, they would immediately run far away. On the ground, all kinds of monsters were running away from the Treant General. Unless it was a strong beast that was bronze-ranked level 6 and above, the king of a certain region, or a large number of hungry beasts that lived in groups, or beasts that lacked intelligence like the fire-red ants. Only then would they dare to attack the Treant General. Boom! Several horned pythons with waists as thick as water tanks died under the combined attacks of the 2,000-year-old Treant generals. The real cause of their deaths was Yu Bing's intense poison and anti-air skill. The horned pythons had thick skin and thick flesh. Their scales were as hard as iron shields. When several of them attacked together, even if the Treant general could win in the end, it would still take a long time. Seeing that the fight was strenuous, Yu Yang secretly cast 2 giant shadows on the 2 Treants. When the Treant general was summoned by Yu Yang, it could be enhanced by the giant shadows. Although the strength of the giant shadows could not be compared to Yu Yang himself, it was at least 10 times stronger. After a few heavy attacks, the horned python's skin was immediately lacerated. Yu Bing immediately activated her intense poison inherent skill, and the terrifying anti-air skill was cast. The battle ended in an instant. Entering the center of the Despair Abyss, powerful beasts could be seen everywhere. In the swamp, there were marsh crocodiles, horned pythons, dog-headed fish monsters, water spiders. In the sky, there were giant bats, various kinds of demon eagles, as well as jackal-headed wind demons. There were also filthy spitting monsters that were disguised as puddles of water. There were even poisonous water scorpions and quicksand dogs that looked like spiders in the crevices of the rocks. These quicksand dogs looked like spiders and had a dog's head. They didn't know how to weave webs, and they didn't know how to spin silk. When they walked on the ground, they were also very slow. However, they were extremely fast when they dug into the sand. They were very good at creating smooth and flawless quicksand traps. Once their prey fell into the trap, they would immediately dig out from the quicksand and drag their prey into the quicksand to suffocate them to death. When there was no prey, they would even imitate the painful and miserable howls of a dog to attract their prey. These quicksand dogs were very cunning creatures. With his level 5 divine vision, Yu Yang could see that they were actually a kind of mutated bat monster. They weren't spiders or dogs at all. Their wings had degenerated and they could no longer fly. They could only dig into the sand. Their 4 claws had also evolved and split into 8. That was why they looked like spiders and dogs at the same time. The ranks of the quicksand dogs were very low. Most of them were normal ranked, and very few of them were bronze ranked. Yu Yang had never seen a silver ranked one before. However, Yu Yang felt that their magic crystals had a special effect. Yu Yang felt that this kind of strange magic crystal would have a certain effect on Hui Tai Lang, the smoky flame girl, and the barbarian cow shadow. The reason was that this kind of magic crystal had a kind of earth attribute energy that could mold their bodies. To be more accurate, it was the transformation energy of quicksand. Maybe if Yi Kong and Fatty Hai used this kind of energy crystal, they could also increase the transformation of their bodies. Yu Yang even wanted to use this kind of energy to research a kind of transformation pill. Because of the research mentality and purpose, Yu Yang and the two girls killed hundreds of quicksand dogs and collected a large amount of magic crystals. The center of the Despair Abyss was extremely big. Yu Yang didn't have a map and could only explore step by step. The deeper they went, the lower the ground became. Many places were filled with large pools of water. There was a waterfall in the pools of water. Looking down the cliff, it was still a bottomless canyon. The three of them walked to the end. The 1,000-year-old Treant general couldn't move freely on the cliff. It was like a waterfall city. Countless amounts of water fell from the sky. If they didn't have flying beasts and only relied on their legs, they might not be able to walk to the bottom of the waterfall, even after walking for half a month. Yu Yang, who had reached the innate realm, didn't need to use his legs anymore. He unsealed a small amount of his innate strength and brought Yu Bing and Anan with him as he floated down easily. The Bloody Queen and the Reaper Mantis explored the path in front of Yu Yang, trying their best to reduce some unnecessary flying for Yu Yang to conserve his innate chi. The thin line of sky that could barely be seen before gradually disappeared. A few kilometers down, the thin line of sky had completely disappeared. The canyon became dark, and the deeper they went, the darker it became. Countless monsters hid their killing intent in the darkness. Some of them even glowed to attract their prey. Once a prey appeared, they would immediately open their mouth and swallow it whole. Of course, this kind of situation wouldn't happen to Yu Yang. When the innate rancors appeared, all the monsters were scared silent. There were even some monsters that couldn't escape in time and try to fight to the death. However, they were easily killed by the Bloody Queen and the Reaper Mantis. Yu Yang brought Yu Bing and Inan along with him. He estimated that he had descended for 20 kilometers along the huge, sloping cliff and the high-altitude waterfall. In the end, he realized that the bottom of the pitch-black abyss was a black abyss ocean. Yu Bing and Inan didn't have Yu Yang's night vision ability, so they couldn't see in this kind of terrain. They could only use the luminous pearl that Princess Sisai gave them to see the space around them. When they realized that there was an abyss ocean below them, they were shocked. They didn't expect that the center of the Despair Abyss was actually a place like this. In the sky, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled, followed by a heavy downpour. Faintly, the two girls could see that there was a huge monster on the surface of the sea, stretching its long neck and twisting continuously. If there was only one, they would think that it was a dragon turtle. However, there were more than 10 huge monsters stretching their necks out of the water. They were so scared that they quickly suggested to Yu Yang to leave this place and find a place without monsters before diving down. When Yu Yang killed the 10,000-year cancer crab in the Cancer Temple, he obtained the tidal pearl from its body. This tidal pearl could form a huge bubble in the water, protecting the user's safety while diving, ignoring the water pressure. At the same time, the tidal pearl could also allow the user to use the water-breathing skill 3 times every other day. If the user's body could withstand the water pressure, the user could swim freely underwater like a fish. The Bloody Queen Red and the Reaper Mantis were the kings of the sky. When they reached the bottom of the water, their battle power would be at its lowest. There was even a possibility that they would be easily dragged into the water by a bronze-rank strange fish and killed. This was the same logic as when the powerful flame lord met the storm mermaid in a battle against 2 beasts with the same attribute. If it was a magma giant or a magma wyvern diving into the water, they wouldn't even need to fight against the enemy. They would just kill themselves. After keeping the Bloody Queen Red and the Reaper Mantis, Little One Lee dived into the water and dispersed the surrounding monsters. She then summoned the stone element Medusa, the Storm Mermaid, and the Thunder Naga. As for the strongest Ice Serpent General, she didn't summon it. Maybe Little One Lee felt that it wasn't necessary. The stone element Medusa could also be summoned. She summoned the gold tiger shark that was close to leveling up after eating the net spider's fragments, and let it open the way for them. As soon as the three overlords of the water appeared, they immediately scared away countless hungry sea monsters. Even the gold tiger shark could run amok in the inner sea. Brother, do you think the dragon turtle is at the bottom of the water? Yu Bing felt that the inner sea was so big. How are they going to find it? It should be, let's go this way. No, let's go this way. Yu Yang knew that finding a dragon turtle at the bottom of the sea was like looking for a needle in a haystack. If it was in the past, he would definitely not do such a strenuous and unrewarding thing. However, after breaking through the 5th level of innate invisible sword chi, he had a faint feeling that he could sense a strong life form. It might not be 100% accurate, but he felt that he should be able to sense the general direction of the dragon turtle. Yu Yang activated his underwater breathing ability and stayed outside the water bubble. Yu Bing and Inan hid inside the water bubble. The stone element Medusa and the Thunder Naga protected them from the front and back. The Storm Mermaid skillfully controlled the water flow and lightly moved the water bubble, following closely behind Yu Yang. Yu Yang rode on the back of the gold tiger shark and leisurely advanced towards the place he sensed. The injured dragon turtle should be hibernating in front. It seemed that it was different from the Qilin girl. If it was the Qilin girl, she would be able to sense his arrival from afar. Even if she was sealed, she would be able to send out a thought wave to ask for help. This dragon turtle seemed to be incomparable to the Qilin girl. However, since it possessed the black tortoise pearl, it seemed that its original strength was not bad. The deeper they went, the more powerful and ugly sea monsters appeared. Even the gold-ranked ocean tyrant was occasionally seen. When they noticed Yu Yang and his group, they did not attack immediately like they usually did. Instead, they sensed the danger and hid far away. Yu Yang was anxious to search for the injured dragon turtle and did not chase after them. Otherwise, he would be able to obtain a lot of gold-ranked magic crystals. They swam at an extremely fast speed underwater for half a day, but did not find anything. After sensing for a long time, Yu Yang was a little tired. He stopped to rest for a while. He felt that his senses were not wrong, but he just could not find the place. The two girls were also a little bored in the water bubble, so they floated to the surface of the sea to get some fresh air and eat something. With the mentality of giving it a try, Yu Yang summoned the water attribute Quintet Seeking Golden Mice and let it try its luck in the water. Yu Yang felt that although this inland sea was not a real ocean, it was still huge. Sending a small mouse to find the injured dragon turtle was a little ridiculous. He was just trying it casually and did not have much hope. Who knew that after half an hour or so, when Yu Yang and the two girls finished resting and were preparing to continue diving, the summoning grimoire suddenly flipped. The water attribute Quintet Seeking Golden Mice had discovered something. On the page of the summoning grimoire, a line of words discovered underwater palace. Ancient building appeared. It can't be. Yu Yang sweated profusely. He had searched for half a day, yet he could not compare to this little mouse. If he had known earlier, he would not have had to spend so much effort. Ghost Genius Yu Gong was indeed a super powerful person. How many secrets did the Quintet Seeking Golden Mice that he created have yet to be discovered? Chapter 307. The Water Palace was a very special space. Yu Yang was the first to dive in. He discovered that it was filled with air, as if it was an underwater vault. The seawater hung high above. Inside, there seemed to be a strong and invisible force pushing the seawater away, forming a special space. This place was completely different from the ground. The gravity here was very light. People could float in the air effortlessly. At the same time, they could swim like fish. There was no need to walk. Occasionally, a strange fish would enter, but they would leave immediately. No matter what level the sea monster was, they all seemed to be in awe of this special space. Yu Yang took a few breaths of air. He discovered that the air here was just like the forest and valley outside. It was extremely fresh. Although there was no wind, he didn't feel stuffy or uncomfortable at all. At the bottom, there was a small amount of glowing, strange plants. They looked like mushrooms, trees, and long vines. Yu Yang had never seen this kind of plant before in the soaring dragon continent. His heart suddenly moved. There seemed to be some relevant information. He searched his brain with his super strong memory. Could it be that it was recorded in the medicine encyclopedia? Yu Yang, Yu Bing, and Inan went down. He took out the medicine encyclopedia and compared it with the plants in front of him. He discovered that he could really find relevant records. This was a kind of glowing daughter silk sphere fruit tree. It was originally a product from the outer realm of Tong Tian Tower, in the soaring dragon continent. Only the destroyed Ming Kingdom had introduced it. However, as the Ming Kingdom's territory fell into the flames of war, it disappeared. This kind of daughter silk sphere fruit tree had disappeared for hundreds of years. He didn't expect to see it here. According to the medicine encyclopedia, the daughter silk sphere fruit tree had the effect of slightly dispersing dark energy. If you're injured by demons, you could use this tree's sap to heal. However, what people paid more attention to was not its healing. It was the aphrodisiac. The daughter silk sphere fruit tree and the aphrodisiac blood leaf tree both had obvious aphrodisiac effects. The former took effect slowly and had few side effects. The latter, on the other hand, was the opposite. It took effect quickly and was extremely hot. It could last for a long time and was loved by many old nobles. Of course, the side effects were huge. It was harmful to the human body. If it was taken for a long time, it could be life-threatening. Let's not talk about others, but the previous two kings of Zijin Kingdom, the Golden Wolf Emperor Chu Hanqi, who was a level 7 overlord, was rumored to have used the aphrodisiac sheep's blood leaf for a long period of time. Every night, he slept with no less than 10 women. In the end, he vomited blood and died from exhaustion. As a level 7 overlord, he did not die in the hands of a strong enemy. Instead, he died of exhaustion on his beloved concubine's belly. This had become the laughingstock of the soaring dragon continent. Unlike the blood leaf herb of the aphrodisiac goat, the daughter silk sphere fruit tree's fruit juice had a relatively slower medicinal effect. It also had a calmer effect on the regulation of qi and blood. It wasn't as aggressive as the blood leaf herb of the aphrodisiac goat. Unless the victim was extremely weak, it wouldn't cause any harm to the body. In the medicine encyclopedia, the aphrodisiac sheep's blood leaf flower was rated as a 3rd-grade poison, while the daughter silk sphere fruit tree was rated as a 4th-grade medicine. Due to the disappearance of the daughter silk sphere fruit tree in the Ming Kingdom, there were very few people who possessed it, and it was extremely rare. Therefore, only the nobles of certain area could possess such a precious medicine. In the palace, it was also known as the imperial concubine sleeping dragon, or daughters sending sons. It meant that if the concubine had it, she would be able to obtain the emperor's favor. She might even be able to obtain a dragon seed, as she wished. After a few hundred years, the daughter silk sphere fruit tree had gradually disappeared from the world. Otherwise, the Golden Wolf Emperor Chu Hanqi would not have suffered the tragedy of dying from exhaustion after consuming the aphrodisiac sheep's blood leaf for a long period of time. Yu Yang did not expect that there would be so many daughter silk sphere fruit trees at the bottom of the despair abyss. Looking closely, these daughter silk sphere fruit trees were all huge trees. The biggest one was so big that it would take more than 10 people to wrap their arms around it. It was obvious that these trees had existed for more than 1,000 years. Yu Yang's ability was extremely strong, just like his martial arts. They were both at an abnormal level. Sickly beauty couldn't satisfy him alone. Even so, Yu Yang did not mind collecting some daughter silk sphere fruit trees to make medicine. The sap of the daughter silk sphere fruit tree had the effect of dispelling dark energy. The fruit juice also had the effect of boosting one's sexual vigor. Other than these, Yu Yang also knew a secret that was not recorded in the medicine encyclopedia. From the knowledge passed down by the pitiful guy's mother, Yu Yang found an extremely useful secret recipe according to his memory. Rebirth pill. If one of the ingredients for the rebirth pill was replaced by the mixture of daughter silk sphere fruit juice and lustrous branches sap, the effect would be even stronger. Now that Yu Yang had the goddess tear and God's dew, he was preparing to concoct the rebirth pill. With this daughter silk sphere fruit juice, it was like giving a pillow to a sleepy person. Of course, he wouldn't stand on ceremony. Furthermore, there was a special fruit in Tong Tian Tower called the Fruit of Youth. It could help ordinary people recover a little of their youthful vigor. Innates could even extend their lifespan if they consumed it. However, this kind of fruit of youth had a strong poison, so it was not suitable to consume it directly. One must first consume the heart-protecting pill, which could increase the body's immunity and remove the poison. Only then would one be able to completely absorb the energy of the fruit of youth. The daughter silk sphere fruit juice was one of the important components of the heart-protecting pill. If one reached the innate realm, even if one did not consume any medicine, a true innate ranker would be able to extend their lifespan by more than 1,000 years. Of course, this was excluding people like Yao Guang and Tian Quan who were forced to become innates by others. Yu Yang had never worried about himself or Shui Wuxia and the others. However, Fourth Mother did not know any martial arts at all, so she would definitely not be able to stay young forever. Thus, he had to concoct the rebirth pill or feed her the fruit of youth and other medicines to extend her lifespan and maintain her youthfulness. Although Yu Yang had never said it out loud, this had actually been his wish all along. What is this? Yu Bing and Inan did not have Yu Yang's knowledge, nor did they have any inheritance of knowledge. They only felt that this was a strange tree. Medicinal ingredients. Yu Yang did not explain much. The two girls were curious and had no interest in the medicinal ingredients. If it was Yu, she would definitely question him to the end. Other than the daughter silk sphere fruit tree, there were many other plants in this water palace. Yu Yang used his memory and inheritance of knowledge to collect a few other medicinal ingredients. These were all medicinal ingredients that the soaring dragon continent lacked. It was a pity that Yu Yang did not find any snow lotus root here. Otherwise, he would definitely refine the martial arts pill and give them a surprise when Elder Yu Hai and Jun Wu Yu return. Elder Yu Hai, Jun Wu Yu, and the others had not been able to break through for many years. Even if they could not become innates after consuming the martial arts pill, they would still gain a lot of benefits. If their abilities improved and they had the ability to protect themselves, Yu Yang would be able to explore Tong Tian Tower with peace of mind in the future. After walking for more than 2 kilometers, Yu Yang felt a mysterious energy in front of him. After walking around the thicket, he discovered a huge stone pillar in front of him. Its appearance was very similar to the crystal pillar that sealed the Qilin girl. However, it was not made of crystal and there were not as many pillars. There was only one abnormally huge pillar. On top of the 10-meter tall pillar, there was a carving of a demon king. There were rows of inscriptions on it. Yu Yang could vaguely recognize a few of them. These inscriptions were written in an ancient language. Although Yu Yang had the inheritance of knowledge, it was still difficult for him to understand them. He reckoned that they were introducing this demon king statue. At the bottom of the pedestal, there was a row of heaven runes. There was also an ancient rune that represented suppression. What is this? When Yu Bing and Anand saw this pillar, they felt uneasy. They even had a feeling that something evil was hiding inside. In ancient times, human warriors defeated the corrupted warriors and suppressed them here. Looks like this is the graveyard of the corrupted warriors. There is not only one such pillar here. Yu Yang brought Yu Bing and Inan along with him and walked forward. He discovered that there was another similar pillar not far away. After walking for a while, he discovered that there were even more huge pillars that represented the corrupted warriors that were suppressed here. After counting carefully, Yu Yang felt that there were at least 100 corrupted warriors suppressed here. Perhaps the era was different, but they were all from a long time ago. The evil qi inside the pillars had already disappeared. The stone pillars were also weathered and dissipated. It seemed that the corrupted warriors that were suppressed inside the pillars had already died. Some of the more intact ones could feel the evil chi. There were also a few evil chi that seemed to be able to break through the seal of the stone pillars. In the middle of these scattered stone pillars, there was a big hall. Yu Yang brought Yu Bing and Inan into the hall. They discovered that this place was extremely big. After walking up 1,000 steps, they arrived at the big hall. They discovered that the inside was even bigger than a football field. The inside of the hall seemed to have once been glorious. However, due to the passage of time, the glorious paintings of the past had already faded. Some of the statues had also disappeared, leaving only the empty hall. Looking at it from afar, the whole building was grand and majestic, giving off a sense of awe. After walking down a few hundred steps and 1,000 meters, they saw a white stone building that was 100 meters tall. The building that had been covered in dust for a long time still stood tall, like a giant overlooking them. To the left, there were houses of different sizes. To the right, there was a small hill in the distance. At the bottom of the hill was a pond. When they got closer, they discovered that the pond was extremely big. It was at least 100 meters long and wide. There was a huge black shadow inside, as if it was sleeping in the water. "It's a dragon turtle. It's a dragon turtle. We've finally found the dragon turtle." Yu Bing cheered. "It's too big." Inan had thought that the thunder mammoth and the Herculean rhinoceros beetle were already big enough. The 30 meters tall king of blacklight was even more incomparable to other beasts. However, the king of blacklight paled in comparison to the black shadow in the pond. It wasn't even worth mentioning. This black shadow had almost filled the entire pond. Seeing it sleeping in the pond, Yu Yang felt that it was too small. Yu Yang had wanted to throw a stone into the pond to wake the sleeping dragon turtle. But before he could move the stone, the water in the pond started to tremble and overflow. In the end, the waves rolled and a whirlpool appeared. The wriggling black shadow caused the water in the pond to soar into the sky, creating waves that were a few meters tall, almost drenching Yu Yang. In the end, even the earth started to tremble. Amidst the extremely exaggerated vibrations, the black shadow started to float up. The waves hit the shore of the pond, splashing waves after waves. The huge head and shell were the first to emerge from the water. Yu Yang saw it clearly. It was indeed a dragon turtle. Dragon head, tortoise body. It looked like it was platinum ranked level 6, but Yu Yang was shocked to find that this dragon turtle was actually in a state of near death due to heavy injuries. If it recovered its peak strength, wouldn't it be even more powerful? Even in a state of near death, it was already so powerful. If it was at its peak, wouldn't it be able to do whatever it wanted in the soaring dragon continent? Of course, this dragon turtle originally lived in the higher floors of Tong Tian Tower. It was only injured that it came here to recuperate. If it wasn't for its heavy injuries, this dragon turtle wouldn't have come to the beginner village of the soaring dragon continent. "Old turtle, I'll accept the quest to heal you, but I'll say it first. Other than that black tortoise pearl, what other rewards do you have? Shouldn't there be some extra rewards for running errands? It took me a lot of effort to find this place. If it wasn't for the Night Empress, I wouldn't have come to this remote and desolate place." Yu Yang purposely used the Night Empress name to see the reaction of this old turtle. "Did the Night Empress send you here? What proof do you have?" Yu Yang's guess was right. This huge dragon turtle could really speak. This fellow's voice was incomparably old, sounding like it was thousands of years old. Yu Yang was speechless. It turned out that the Night Empress was just a little girl in front of this old turtle. Chapter 308. "No." Yu Yang shrugged. "If I knew you wanted a keepsake, I would have asked her for some treasures as a keepsake. Every year, many people come to disturb my sweet dreams. Sometimes it's a human warrior, sometimes it's a demon." The dragon turtle's aged voice heaved a long sigh. "If you can't prove your identity and ability, I won't believe you so easily. You'd better leave. My brother was definitely sent by the Night Empress. He wouldn't lie to you." Yu Bing saw that the dragon turtle had the intention to refuse to see her off, so she quickly pleaded for Yu Yang. "He's also Ji Zun's disciple." Inan felt that if she mentioned Ji Zun, her name would be even more famous. "Is that so?" Then what unique skill did you learn from Jizun? The dragon turtle indeed knew about Jizun, and it seemed to be quite familiar with her. Yu Yang was speechless. Although Jizun was Yu Yang's introducer, she had never taught Yu Yang any unique skills. Other than giving him a crystal card at Shangwu Camp, she had only chatted with Yu Yang for a while at the Cloud Peak Lake's one line of heaven. Normally, she didn't care about what Yu Yang did, let alone teach Yu Yang any unique skills. Jizun did admit that she was Yu Yang's introducer, but she wasn't very qualified. According to Jizun, she wanted to give Yu Yang unlimited freedom and wouldn't control Yu Yang like how she controlled her sister in the past. This was to prevent Yu Yang from having a rebellious mentality. In fact, Yu Yang hoped that there would be a beautiful Jizun with super big breasts to control him every day. He wanted to see her dazzling breasts shake every day. How cool would that be? It was a pity that the beautiful Jizun had a psychological shadow because of her sister's matter and was no longer willing to care about Yu Yang's matters. In the end, under this unlimited freedom, Yu Yang didn't get any treasures or divine beasts. He didn't even know the beautiful Jizun's unique skills. Yu Yang couldn't answer the dragon turtle's question. Forget about learning it. He had never even heard of Jizun's ultimate move. Yu Bing was also a little embarrassed, but she still answered honestly, Grandpa Dragon Turtle. Although Jizun did not impart any unique skills to Big Brother, she was indeed Big Brother's introducer. If you want to see Big Brother's strength, why don't you let Big Brother unseal his Xiantian realm strength for you to see? The gigantic dragon head of the dragon turtle shook lightly. There's no need to unseal it. I'm not blind. I can tell with one look that this boy has the power of a level 3 innate. He has great potential. I've never seen such a young innate before. Unfortunately, he's too young. As for the two of you girls, you're a level 7 beginner, overlord, and a level 6 advanced elder, respectively. You're slightly stronger than the girl who specializes in mental energy. This old man wants to say something. With your strength, even if this old man gives you the task, and you enter the Prison Emperor Divine Palace to help me retrieve the Prison Emperor Divine Staff and Divine Seal, I'm afraid that you won't even last for half an hour before you are all killed. Aren't we looking for medicine to heal your injuries? Anne knew that she wasn't strong enough, but she didn't expect the dragon turtle to say that Yu Yang would also be killed if he entered the Prison Emperor Divine Palace. Of course, she knew what kind of person Yu Yang was. The Green Summit sect leader, Duan Mulong Chung, was also chased by Yu Yang to the Demon Abyss and was killed. Furthermore, this old dragon turtle even said that Yu Yang wasn't qualified to enter the Prison Emperor Divine Palace. Wasn't this too exaggerated? My holy bee soul is injured. Right now, my body is like a perforated water tank. I can't retain any energy. It's useless no matter how much medicine I eat. Even if I can recover, I can only recover to platinum ranked level 10. I reckon that I won't be able to recover my peak strength even after 1,000 years. If that's the case, it will be meaningless. The dragon turtle sighed deeply. Are you in a hurry? Yu Yang felt that this dragon turtle was a little strange. Maybe this dragon turtle saw that his strength was not bad, so he raised the level of the task. Previously, the Night Empress didn't even mention anything about retrieving something from the Prison Emperor Divine Palace. With his current strength, he wouldn't even be able to last for half an hour. Why would the Night Empress give such a dangerous task to him? Furthermore, the Night Empress wouldn't have predicted that his growth would be so fast. It was something that even he didn't expect. On the surface, this dragon turtle seemed to be suspicious, but in reality, it still had the intention to give him the task. Otherwise, why would it talk so much nonsense? It could have just sunk to the bottom of the pond and continued to sleep. However, wasn't the level of the task a little too high? Originally, healing this dragon turtle was probably a B-rank task at most, and the reward was the Black Tortoise Pearl. Now that this dragon turtle had suddenly raised the level of the task, it seemed that it was at least S rank, maybe even SS rank. If he couldn't even last for half an hour in the Prison Emperor Divine Palace, then Yu Bing and Inan wouldn't even be able to last. As for the Prison Emperor Divine Staff and Prison Emperor Divine Seal, what were those things? Holy ranked equipment? Divine ranked equipment? The dragon turtle muttered to itself for a long time. In the end, it sighed in its old voice. In the 10th floor of Tong Tian Tower, there is a heaven realm door that opens once every 100 years. If I don't get the Prison Emperor Divine Staff and Prison Emperor Divine Seal this year, I won't be able to recover my peak strength. If I don't recover my peak strength, I won't be able to kill the traitor Prison Emperor Divine General that year. If I let the Prison Emperor Divine General enter the Heaven Realm, I'm afraid that he would be able to get away scot-free forever. Because of the Heaven Realm Alliance Agreement, Ji Zun and the Night Empress can't kill the Rancors who have the qualifications to enter the Heaven Realm. After this year, the Heaven Realm door will close. You are all children with great potential. It's a pity that I won't be able to wait for the day you become stronger. I don't have much time left. What's in the Prison Emperor Divine Palace? Yu Yang was also secretly considering whether he should accept this task or not. If he accepted it, it would definitely be dangerous. If he didn't accept it, it would be a pity. 6,000 years ago, I was only 2,000 years old at that time. My identity was the Prison Emperor's Divine Guardian Beast. I was very young, the youngest among all the Divine Guardian Beasts. However, I was deeply trusted by the Prison Emperor. No matter if it was conquering the Demon Abyss or entering the Heaven Realm, I would always follow the Prison Emperor. The Prison Emperor was an unimaginably powerful human rancor. He was invincible. Even the rancors of the Heaven Realm trembled when they heard his name. After that, the three great leaders of the Heaven Realm were afraid that the Prison Emperor would threaten the Heaven Realm. So they went against the rules of the ancient code and forced their way out from the Heaven Realm door. They led countless Heaven Realm rancors to besiege the Prison Emperor. That battle was earth-shattering. Even some of the continents sank to the bottom of the sea. Two of the three great leaders of the Heaven Realm fell forever, just like how the gods of the ancient era fell. They were sealed in the Prison Emperor Divine Palace by the Prison Emperor and could never return to the Heaven Realm. The remaining one escaped back to the Heaven Realm, abandoning more than 100 Heaven Realm rancors, and escaped alone. The Prison Emperor joined hands with the human rancors and killed these Heaven Realm rancors one by one. In the end, all of them were sealed in the Prison Emperor Divine Palace. The Prison Emperor used his own life force as the price to seal all of the enemies. He, who was heavily injured, died before he could even leave the Prison Emperor Divine Palace. After that, the soaring dragon continent, which had lost the Prison Emperor, fell into chaos. The Prison Emperor Divine General and the other traitors took the opportunity to rebel. In the end, the stability of the soaring dragon continent collapsed, and the continent gradually declined, losing its former glory. All the rancors had died in the battle against the Heaven Realm. My companions had also died in the battle. Now I am the only one left. In the Prison Emperor Divine Palace, there are Heaven Realm rancors whose souls are sealed. Even without a physical body, the sealed souls are not something you can fight against. The dragon turtle's aged voice carried an indescribable sorrow. As it recounted the past, only then did Yu Yang know that the humans of a few thousand years ago were so powerful that they could actually fight against the Heaven Realm. Thinking about it now, the warriors of the soaring dragon continent couldn't even enter the Heaven Realm. The difference between 6,000 years ago and 6,000 years later was so huge. Yu Yang compared it with Queen Vivian Lee's words. Queen Vivian Lee was a rancor from the Demon Abyss 10,000 years ago. She was so powerful, but she was actually sealed in the black hole space by a human rancor. From this, it could be seen how much the human race had declined. If the human race lost Ji Zun and Night Empress, the great emperor of Ziwei, Shun Tian, the Thousand Goblin sect leader, and the others to stir up trouble again, in a few hundred years, the human warriors might not even be able to contract beasts. At that time, they would completely become the slaves and food of the Demon Abyss. The current soaring dragon continent was like a broken ship riddled with holes, leaking water everywhere. If it wasn't repaired soon, forget about continuing to sail. It might even sink into the sea one day and be consigned to eternal damnation. We don't have to fight against those sealed souls. why don't we steal the things? Inan suggested. The souls inside would definitely interfere with the stealing. Furthermore, once the divine staff leaves the sealed souls would gain more freedom and gain more power. Even if they couldn't leave the prison emperor divine palace, their power would definitely increase by 10 times. At that time, it would be even harder for them to leave. The dragon turtle obviously didn't think highly of Yu Yang and the others, because in its eyes, Yu Yang was too young. Even if he was a super genius and an innate at the age of 20, he was still too young. Grandpa Dragon Turtle, can we invite the prison emperor out? Yu Bing felt that the prison emperor might not be here anymore, but she still held onto a sliver of hope. If the prison emperor could be revived, even if his soul could come out, then things would be easier. The prison emperor is no longer here. His divine staff and divine seal still have his power. It's a pity that you guys don't have the prison emperor's bloodline. Otherwise, you could use them and inherit the prison emperor's power. With the prison emperor divine staff and divine seal, I have the confidence to kill that traitor, the prison emperor divine general. If it wasn't for him guiding the 3 great leaders of Heaven Realm, the Heaven Realm rankers wouldn't have been able to descend onto the soaring dragon continent so easily. The dragon turtle's main goal was to take revenge and kill the prison emperor divine general who had lived for 6,000 years. Do you need the prison emperor divine staff and divine seal? Yu Yang felt that other than Jizun, even the Night Empress couldn't see through his true power. Although this dragon turtle was powerful, it shouldn't be able to see through his true power after being injured. Could the old dragon turtle really see through his counterfeit inherent skill? With Nirvana Flame, World Exterminating Wheel, Explosion Star Explosion, Devouring Domain, and most importantly, innate invisible sword chi, how could he not fight? Among his beasts, he had Little Wen Li, Bloody Queen Red, and Barbarian Cow Shadow on man to support him. If he really couldn't do it, there was still the Qilin Girl and the 2 Phoenix Girls. If they weren't willing to come out and help him, then he would go into Queen Vivian Li's black hole sealed space and think of a way to get Queen Vivian Li out. She was a powerful person from 10,000 years ago. If she wasn't injured and sealed, the prison emperor and the 3 great leaders of Heaven Realm would be nothing to her. Yu Bing and Inan still wanted to ask about the situation, but Yu Yang waved his hand, indicating that there was no need. He recorded 10 teleportation scrolls in front of the dragon turtle and nodded. I might be able to help you break into the prison emperor divine palace, but I have to make some preparations first. The dragon turtle seemed to know that Yu Yang wouldn't give up, so it gave him a final blow. Little boy, I appreciate your good intentions, but the prison emperor divine palace is a special sealed space. If you don't get the prison emperor divine staff or the prison emperor divine seal, you won't be able to come out. The prison emperor divine staff and the prison emperor divine seal respectively seal the 2 great leaders of Heaven Realm. Even if they only have 1% of their strength left, they are still not something that you can fight against. You are not me. How would you know that I can't? Yu Yang rolled his eyes unhappily. He thought to himself that he could even enter and exit the black hole sealed space at will. How could this prison emperor divine palace be a problem for him? He only wanted to go back and discuss with Wu Xia and Tigress to raise the price. Otherwise, if he agreed too readily, the reward for the quest wouldn't be high. At the very least, he wanted to extort 1 divine equipment from the dragon turtle. If he couldn't get either the prison emperor divine staff or the prison emperor divine seal, then he would also want one of the prison emperor divine armor, prison emperor divine helmet, and so on. Yu Yang pulled his sister Yu Bing and Inan and teleported back to the Little Flower Garden. Breaking into the prison emperor divine palace would probably be even more difficult than breaking into the 12 zodiac temples. Yu Yang felt that he had to discuss with the girls and brainstorm to see if they could think of the best way. Chapter 309. Princess Sisai and Shui Wuxiao were sparring on a lake 10 miles away, while City Mistress Fallen Flowers was planting flowers in the courtyard of the small manor. In the inner room, Sickly Beauty was copying heaven runes. When Yu Yu saw Yu Yang return, she welcomed him happily. You found the dragon turtle, right? Yes. Yu Bing nodded happily. What do you need to heal it? Is healing water enough? Yu felt that it was finally her turn to make a move. Although she wasn't good at fighting, healing was not a problem. And Anne shook her head, indicating that it wasn't that simple. While Yu was astonished, City Mistress Fallen Flowers in the courtyard heard the commotion. She threw down her hoe and ran back, especially the three-tailed snow fox, who ran even faster. While Yu Bing was explaining the process to Yu, Inan rushed to inform Princess Sisai and Shui Wuxia to come back. On the other side, City Mistress Fallen Flowers was doing a full-body search on Yu Yang. She knew that if he came across any strange flowers or herbs during his exploration, he would definitely not forget to bring them to her. Of course, the most important thing was that she used this as an excuse to check if he was injured. Yu Yang hurriedly expressed that he was uninjured and passed the Daughter Silk Sphere Fruit Tree seed to her. This is... When City Mistress Fallen Flowers saw the Daughter Silk Sphere Fruit Tree seed that had disappeared for hundreds of years, she was surprised. There was actually a seed that she didn't recognize. Daughter Silk Sphere Fruit Tree. It has the effect of dispelling dark energy. Yu Yang reminded her. Wawa, this thing has disappeared from the soaring dragon continent for hundreds of years. My garden lacks this kind of plant that blooms at night and glows. City Mistress Fallen Flowers was ecstatic. She hugged Yu Yang's arm and gave him a sweet kiss. City Mistress Fallen Flowers was too excited. Her relationship with Yu Yang had not reached the stage where she would give him a kiss anytime. Yu Bing was fine, but Yu blushed. Yu knew about the Daughter Silk Sphere Fruit Tree because it was similar to her healing ability. They both had the ability to disperse dark energy. Even when she was studying in Shangjing Academy, many perverts gave her the nickname Daughter Silk Moonlight. This nickname Daughter Silk Moonlight was because her skin was especially white and smooth, and her figure was alluring. When her soul spring inherent skill leveled up, according to her teacher's prediction, Yu's spiritual energy would have the same effect as moonlight bathing. It would be extremely nourishing for a warrior's body. While replenishing spiritual energy, it could also purify and dispel negative effects such as demonic energy. If it wasn't for the fact that she was born in the Yu clan and was already engaged, Yu's pursuers would probably form a long line of thousands of meters. Shaoxin was already super powerful. If he also took this Daughter Silk Sphere fruit juice that had the effect of strengthening one's sex drive, how could Sister Wu Hen stand him? When Yu thought of this, her face became even redder. However, when she saw Princess Sisai and Shui Wuxia flying back, she couldn't help but feel relieved. There was still Qin Xian and the others. There was no need for her to worry about him. There was no harm in taking the Daughter Silk Sphere fruit juice. Maybe he brought it back to plan it for fun. Yu hurriedly shifted her attention to other things. Coincidentally, she heard Yu Bing mention the Prison Emperor Divine Palace. Prison Emperor Divine Palace? She had never heard of this before. When Princess Sisai and Shui Wuxia returned, Yu Yang explained the situation to them. All the girls frowned. There are no records of the Heaven Realm War that happened 6,000 miles ago. However, according to the dragon turtle's description, we cannot let our guard down. After all, humans are still unable to enter the Heaven Realm, and the Prison Emperor alone could fight against the three great leaders of the Heaven Realm. If the Prison Emperor Divine Palace really has a sealed Heaven Realm ranker and the two great leaders, I'm afraid that we won't be able to force our way in. Shui Wuxia started to realize that this matter was almost as difficult as the exploration of God's ruins that they had planned to leave until the end. Other than Yu Yang's mother, no one else had been able to enter the inner layer of God's ruins until now. That was definitely a big challenge. However, this Prison Emperor Divine Palace that had existed for 6,000 years and had sealed the souls of the two great leaders was not simple either. Princess Sisai usually did not ask anyone for help. However, she suddenly suggested to Yu Yang, "Why don't you ask that big breast girl? She might know something. Furthermore, she's trying to get close to you, so give her a chance." The big breast girl that she was talking about was Impatience Skylaw. If it was before, Princess Sisai would definitely not trust Impatience. However, After the decisive battle in the Yu clan castle, where impatience used all her strength to save Yu Yang and fought with the great emperor of Ziwei until she fainted, Princess Sisai had changed her mind. Although she didn't really like impatience, this kind of big-breast girl who could seduce Yu Yang in a bed at any time, her rationality told her that if they wanted to explore the prison Emperor Divine Palace without inviting Skylaw, it would not be enough to rely on their own strength. She wouldn't be at ease to let Yu Yang go in alone and fight alone. She also couldn't bear to do so. The best way was to find him a helper who would not betray him in front of benefits. This person was Skylaw. As Skylaw, one of the big shots of the demonic palace, she had everything and lacked nothing. She only lacked a man who could make her not feel lonely in her life. As long as Yu Yang used his charm and sacrificed himself a little, Skylaw would definitely lend him a helping hand. For example, during the battle in the Yu clan castle, she did not hesitate to fall out with the great emperor of Ziwei, Shun Tian. Even when facing the 3 great demon kings and the great lich kings in the demon abyss, she did not abandon Yu Yang and escape alone. This proved that this big-breast girl was a trustworthy ally. I agree. I also agree to join hands with Skylaw to explore the prison Emperor Divine Palace. We would rather pay a certain amount of compensation. Luo Hua City Mistress usually didn't care much about things, but she was actually very decisive. If she wasn't a woman, the throne of Tian Luo Kingdom's future emperor might be passed to her instead of the prince of Tian Luo. Do your best to raise your fighting power. If you're not an innate, even if everyone wants to go in and help, it would be very limited. Shui Wuxia said slowly. This sentence hit the girl's weak point. What she meant was that the girls were useless and couldn't help Yu Yang the most. In the face of difficulties, they needed to ask Skylaw, a super love rival, for help. Shui Wuxia did not object to inviting Skylaw, but she felt that it was more important to raise their fighting power at home. After all, it was better to rely on oneself than to rely on others. Even if they succeeded in exploring the prison Emperor Divine Palace this time, what about the next time they enter the Heaven Realm? The old dragon turtle said that the Heaven Realm gate opens once every 100 years, and it happened to open this year. If they missed it, they would have to wait for another 100 years. If Yu Yang wanted to enter the Heaven Realm, with Skylaw and the others' help, it wouldn't be difficult. However, the girls did not have the strength to do so. Could it be that they would have to wait for another 100 years to meet Yu Yang again? At that time, Skylaw and Yu Yang's grandsons might not even know how to play a supporting role. Princess Sisai clenched her fists with hatred. She gritted her teeth and said resolutely, 1 month, I will rush to the innate realm. It was impossible for her to rush to the innate realm in a month by herself. No matter how talented she was, she couldn't compare to Yu Yang, this abnormal person. However, if she threw away all her worries and trained body fusion with Yu Yang like a couple, or even husband and wife, it was still possible. As long as she could rush to the innate realm, she wouldn't be left behind. Although she was fierce towards Yu Yang on the surface, she felt extremely sour in her heart when she helplessly asked Skylaw to join hands with her. This was equivalent to handing him over to someone else. Princess Sisai could imagine that after Yu Yang fought in the prison Emperor Divine Palace, his strength would definitely increase greatly. At that time, he would most likely go to the God's ruins and the Heaven Realm Gate to explore. Once he entered the Heaven Realm and left for 100 years, would he still call her Tigress like he did today? Forget about Skylaw. There was also the Night Empress and Jizun. Just within the Heaven Realm, there were probably countless outstanding girls. It was hard to guarantee that he wouldn't meet a few more. At that time, they might even replace her position. Anything could happen in 100 years' time. Under such a sense of crisis, Princess Sisai decided to give up everything and rush to the innate realm. If she wanted to keep him by her side forever, she couldn't rely on weak tears like ordinary girls. Instead, she had to become strong enough and become his irreplaceable helper. I also want to rush. Yu Bing's fighting spirit was the strongest. Work hard. Under the influence of Yu Bing's fighting spirit, In addition to the fact that her relationship with Yu Yang had improved by leaps and bounds, Inan didn't resist training body fusion anymore. City Mistress Fallen Flowers and Shui Wuxia looked at each other. Needless to say, both of them wanted to rush to the innate realm. Shui Wuxia would probably reach it faster than Princess Sisai because she had always been training body fusion with Yu Yang and was just a little bit away from it. City Mistress Fallen Flowers was a little slower. If she used all her strength, she would probably reach the innate realm in at least a month, at most 2 months. Sickly Beauty wasn't weak in the first place, but she wasn't good at fighting and had no attack power. She and Yu Yang had already connected their meridians a long time ago, but she didn't usually say it out, so as not to give everyone a shock. If needed, she could break through to the innate realm anytime. Princess Sisai and the others also knew about this. The one who was the most flustered was Yu Yu. It wasn't convenient for her to train body fusion with Yu Yang. Even if they trained together, she couldn't be as open as Princess Sisai because she and Yu Yang were siblings. Unless her father, Yu Shan, was really a fake, a real demon, it was impossible for her to marry Yu Yang. Yu Yu didn't want her father to be a demon, and she didn't want her body to have the demon's bloodline. However, the identity of siblings made her feel depressed. Why was the one who protected her in every aspect of her life a mistress? He was her own brother. If he wasn't, then it would be better. Siblings definitely wouldn't end up together. Yu Yu sighed. She wasn't like Yu Bing, who could say that she wanted to break through to the innate realm. Yu Bing was still young and didn't understand the relationship between a man and a woman. She had already grown up, so it should be taboo. Sister Yu, let's break through to the innate realm together and go to the heaven realm together. I will bring back the best things in the heaven realm as a gift for my mother. Yu Bing hugged Yu Yu happily, as if she could enter the heaven realm tomorrow. To little girls, the legendary heaven realm was mysterious and full of dreamy colors. It was hard to not look forward to it. Okay. Yu Yu agreed on the surface, but she smiled bitterly in her heart. Break through to the innate realm by herself? Do body fusion with a mistress? Was that even possible? And was it really that easy to enter the heaven realm? Maybe the heaven realm was more cruel than the soaring dragon continent, where the strong preyed on the weak. Of course, she couldn't discourage Yu Bing's enthusiasm, so she could only agree. Yu Yu knew that her seventh sister's achievements were destined to be higher than hers. Not only was she a super genius, she was also completely focused. Her cultivation progressed at a tremendous pace. Before she understood the relationship between a man and a woman, she believed that she would be able to reach an extremely high realm with her third brother's help. If it's possible, talk to Bingyin again. She would definitely have a better idea. Sickly Beauty suddenly added, who's Bingyin? Yu Yang was surprised. He had never heard of this name before. Could it be the name of Night Empress or Jizun? Who called me? Chilling Girl suddenly jumped out. Because she turned her head to look at Sickly Beauty halfway, she didn't look where she was going and didn't stop walking. With a bang, she knocked Yu Yang to the ground. Yu Yang didn't know if she did it on purpose or if she was really dumb. Chapter 310. When she heard about the Prison Emperor Divine Palace and the Heaven Realm Gate, the Chilling Girl yawned and said disinterestedly, "Let's talk about this when the time comes. I'm a girl. I'm not interested in fighting and killing. Furthermore, the 2 girls in your family had just expanded the Phoenix Nirvana Pillar. I'm preparing to use the Nirvana Pillar to rest for a while. When I evolve to a golden Qilin, I'll consider coming out to help you." When Yu Yang heard this, he knew that he couldn't count on this girl. She and the Phoenix sisters were kind of mortal beasts. They wouldn't attack him first. They would only attack him when he was about to die. Sickly Beauty asked on behalf of her husband, "What Phoenix Nirvana Pillar? Can you bring Yu Yang in to take a look?" The Chilling Girl blinked her cute big eyes and asked back, "I'm just curious. Why doesn't he go in to live? My throat is very soft. I can't talk too much every day. Good night, everyone." She turned into a ray of light and floated into Yu Yang's body. The girls were all sweating when they saw this. This Chilling Girl would always act like this at important times. There must be some reason why she didn't want to say it out. But even if that was the case, she didn't need to find this excuse all the time. Yu Yang went outside and found the Thief Guild to send a message to Impatience. This message was very simple. There were only 4 words: Prison Emperor Divine Palace. However, because he sent a message to Sky Law, the Thief Guild charged Yu Yang 100 gold coins. Furthermore, he couldn't guarantee that the message would be delivered. Yu Yang's heart ached for a while. Damn it, killing a bronze-ranked level 3 lightning leopard, including its magic crystal and leopard skin, was only worth 5 gold coins. This message cost 100 gold coins. It was no different from robbery. Sending a message was equivalent to killing 20 lightning leopards. Even the Central Mobile Army wasn't this black-hearted. Yu Yang almost raised his crescent blade, Crescent Moon, to kill this wretched old thief in front of him. Returning to the little flower garden, Shui Wuxia gave a suggestion to Yu Yang. Your grimoire has not leveled up, and your innate skills have not been upgraded yet. Why don't you take this opportunity to upgrade it? It should be of some help. After passing the 12 Zodiac Temples, you can also pass the 3 World Shrines. In the future, no matter what you do in the Tong Tian Tower, there won't be any level restriction. There's no need for you to always be a level 3 hero. Now that everyone knows that you are an innate, you can obtain the Ancient Code's reward if you level up. Why not? Maybe after you obtain the reward, you will have more confidence in exploring the Prison Emperor's Divine Palace. Her opinion was very good. Yu Yang was just not used to summoning his grimoire and raising his shield to fight. Little Wen Li didn't need to be summoned. She could even help to summon the barbarian Cow Shadow, Bloody Queen, and the others. She didn't need Yu Yang to summon them. That was why Yu Yang had always been fighting like this. He rarely used his grimoire in big and small battles, even when he was challenging the 12 Zodiac Temples. Then I'll go and challenge the 3 World Shrines in the 2nd floor of Tong Tian Tower. Yu Yang remembered that after he had cleared the 12 Zodiac Temples, he had obtained a mysterious pearl that even his Heaven Eye's divine vision couldn't see through. It was even more mysterious than the pearl that sealed the Dark Golden Spectre. It felt similar to the black jade necklace that sealed Queen Vivian Li. It looked ordinary on the outside, and he couldn't see any energy fluctuation at all. However, in the dream realm, this mysterious pearl was the 2nd item that appeared other than the black jade necklace. At that time, the big loli held it in her hands and looked at it. In the end, she threw it back to Yu Yang. That was the reward for clearing the entire 12 Zodiac Temples. It couldn't be a useless item, especially since it was the only thing that could enter the dream realm other than the black jade necklace. It was definitely a treasure among treasures. The black jade necklace sealed Queen Vivian Li. Even if this mysterious pearl didn't seal a powerful person, it would definitely be an incredible treasure. However, with Yu Yang's current Heaven Eye's divine vision, he still couldn't see the truth behind it. The 12 Zodiac Temples had many rewards, but what about the 3 World Shrines? The 3 World Shrines had the same difficulty as the 12 Zodiac Temples. Of course, other than Yu Yang, who was an abnormal innate ranker, there was no other warrior who would still be a level 3 hero after reaching the innate realm. The 12 Zodiac Temples and the 3 World Shrines, Heaven, Earth, and Man all restricted the entry of warriors who were level 6, Elder, and above. Other than Yu Yang, who could easily clear the stages, it was almost impossible for other people to clear the 12 Zodiac Temples and the 3 World Shrines before becoming a level 6, Elder. It could be said that it was Yu Yang's bad habit of rarely using his grimoire that created this kind of opportunity. If Yu Yang summoned his grimoire in every battle and accumulated battle points, he would have long surpassed level 6, Elder. It would also be impossible for him to enter the 12 Zodiac Temples and the 3 World Shrines to challenge them. I'll stay behind and train with Sister Anan. Brother, do your best. Yu Bing knew that once she went, her brother would definitely give the rewards to her. Don't be so wishy-washy. Go, and come back quickly. Princess Sisai stretched out her hand and gave Yu Yang a punch. She looked fierce on the outside, but she was very nervous on the inside. Breaking through to the innate realm in a month, body fusion would definitely surpass the superficial way of holding hands. It might even surpass the way of hugging and kissing like Shui Wuxia. They weren't engaged yet, and she didn't see how hard this brat was trying to woo her. If she were to be naked with him, and even let him see all the secrets of her body, it would be too degrading. But what could she do? If she didn't do that, how could she break through to the innate realm in a month? It was fine if she were to be naked with him, but she was afraid that this brat wouldn't be able to control his lust and would eat her up. At that time, she would really want to cry, but have no tears. Could it be that when the old man at home returned from the Easter Goblin tribe, she would go and tell him, "Congratulations, you have a son-in-law. He is your brother Hai's grandson. If you don't mind hearing another piece of good news, I also want to tell you that you will soon have a grandson to hug." That old man would probably be so angry that he would fall head first onto the ground from the dragon throne. No matter how angry her father was, he would still pass. At most, she would be scolded by him. But the real problem was that she wasn't ready yet. Could it be that she really had to be like Sister Wu Hen and cook the rice, serving this brat every night and letting him play until dawn? Princess Sisai's heart was restless. Of course, she couldn't tell anyone about her worries, and no one could comfort her. Forget about Wuxia. She would definitely ignore her worries. Sister Fallen Flowers' worries were exactly the same as hers. As for Yu Yu, she was probably even more trouble than her. Looking at Yu Yang's back as he left, Princess Sisai sighed. It seemed like her good body had been taken advantage of by this brat. Why was this brat so lucky? Her sisters were all proud and arrogant. No matter how outstanding a man was, they wouldn't even look at him. But in the end, they still followed him, and none of them could escape. Could it be that this was the will of the heavens? Sickly Beauty seemed to be able to see through Princess Sisai's worries. She smiled gently. Her face was no longer pale, and now looked especially rosy and delicate. Her big eyes shone with the gentle light of a virtuous wife. Qian, you're thinking too much. Actually, that matter isn't that scary. Moreover, Yu Yang isn't a man-eating tiger. When Princess Sisai heard this, she was slightly stunned. She thought to herself that it was true. If Traceless could withstand it with her weak body, of course it wouldn't be a problem for others. Moreover, she often heard her fighting with that bad guy throughout the night. It was endless, and she didn't seem to feel any discomfort during the day. In fact, she seemed to be in good spirits, and her entire personality seemed to be nourished. Could it be that women were born to withstand men's naughtiness? Could it be that doing that thing was really that comfortable? Hearing Sister Traceless' voice, it sounded as if her soul was about to melt. Princess Sisai suddenly thought of Yu Yang's body. She remembered that she had seen that bad thing a few times. Her face instantly turned red, and her heart thumped wildly. She didn't believe it. That bad thing was simply a huge monster. Forcefully entering such a tender place, how could it not hurt? Moreover, before that old fellow agreed to let her marry him, she definitely couldn't go see him with a big belly. She might be shameless, but he was an emperor, and he had to care about his reputation. An unmarried princess with a big belly. What kind of words was that? Yu Yang didn't know what Princess Sisai was thinking as he excitedly rushed towards Tong Tian Tower. His journey was smooth. He was teleported in, and then transferred to the second floor of Tong Tian Tower through the teleportation circle. He then headed towards the Great Void Realm, where the 3 world shrines were located. Just like the Star Region, where the 12 Zodiac temples were located, this Great Void Realm was also a place with the ancient law. Warriors couldn't fight personally, and could only summon their beasts to fight. Of course, strengthening-type warriors who were one with their beasts were an exception. On the surface, strengthening-type warriors seemed to have an advantage, but they were actually at a disadvantage under the ancient law's restriction. This was because if they were to fight personally, they would most likely lose their lives if they met with danger. On the other hand, elemental-type and beast-type beasts could still escape. As for special-type beasts, they had already been reduced to living beasts or even pet-type beasts. They had already been abandoned by ordinary warriors. Unless there was someone who had a super abnormal special-type beast like the one in Yu Yang's hands. Are you sure you want to challenge the 3 world shrines? The golden armor captain who was guarding was not the person from the 12 zodiac temples. He didn't know Yu Yang at all. Furthermore, Yu Yang was currently disguised as a masked thief. Yes, Yu Yang was too lazy to talk nonsense with him and directly paid the money. Good luck. The golden armor captain received no less than 1,000 challengers every year. Every single one of them came full of confidence and left dejectedly. He estimated that this little thief, who was only a level 3 hero, would be forced to crawl out of the tower in less than 10 minutes. He might even lose his life inside, unable to leave forever. Yu Yang had learned his lesson this time. He didn't take out that eye-catching crystal card anymore. He specially used his identity as Yu Yang to apply for a bronze card. This card was the one that the old cunning fox had accompanied him to apply for. The old cunning fox had helped him conceal his identity and was his introducer. Although a normal warrior could only apply for one card in their lifetime, Yu Yang had someone backing him up, so he had secretly applied for an extra card. This could be considered as an exception. The old cunning fox had initially thought that the bronze card that Yu Yang applied for would be a useless card to deceive people. He didn't expect that this card could also be recognized by the ancient code. At that time, he was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped to the ground. In the end, he confirmed that Yu Yang was indeed a big abnormal. Entering the human shrine. This was the first shrine of the 3 world shrines, just like the Ares temple of the 12 zodiac temples. However, this human shrine of the 3 world shrines was 10 times better than the Ares temple in terms of space, architecture, guards, and restrictions. There were 500 bronze-ranked level 5 puppet warriors, 50 bronze-ranked level 6 puppet commanders, 5 bronze-ranked level 7 puppet generals, and even a bronze-ranked level 8 puppet king. If it wasn't Yu Yang, and if it was any other warrior who was restricted to level 5, Grandmaster, and below, they would probably cry in fear upon seeing this large group of humanoid puppets. A normal level 5 Grandmaster would be lucky to have a bronze-ranked level 5 beast. 1 against 500? Furthermore, there were still 50 puppet commanders, 5 puppet generals, and a king. This was definitely not something a normal warrior could challenge. If it was only a few hundred humanoid puppets, it would still be fine. In the sky, there were fire ravens that knew how to attack from afar. Flying-type beasts would be in despair. There were more than 100 bronze-ranked level 5 fire ravens in the sky. In a crooked river, there was also a large group of tidal giants that were also good at shooting water into ice from afar. Similarly, they were also bronze-ranked level 5 beasts. Only a freak would be able to pass through the 3 godly temples before level 6. Yu Yang knew that he was an exception. There was no one like him who didn't summon his grimoire to fight. He had Xiao Wenli, Phantom Shadow, Hui Tai Lang, Innate Invisible Sword Qi, Nirvana Flame, World Exterminating Wheel, and so on. He didn't need to summon his grimoire to fight his enemies, but others definitely wouldn't be able to. Without his own strength, other level 5 Grandmaster would be seeking death if they came here. The human shrine did not have any time to protect itself as the enemies rushed towards them. The battle began. This time, Yu Yang did something different and summoned his advanced silver grimoire. Little Wunli floated out and summoned the stone element Medusa and the storm mermaid, ordering them to destroy the tidal giants in the water. The Bloody Queen and the Reaper Mantis killed the fire ravens in the sky. As for the barbarian Cow Shadow and the thorny flower Demoness, they dealt with the humanoid puppets on the ground. Yu Yang stood obediently inside his shield, leisurely nibbling on an apple as he watched little Wunli fight against the giant puppet king. The battle ended within 10 minutes. Man, who had the support of 2 giant shadows, effortlessly smashed all the puppet warriors into pieces. To her, numbers were not a problem at all. The difference in level, strength, and intelligence allowed her to easily slaughter the entire puppet army. The thorny flower Demoness also easily smashed the 5 demon generals into pieces. She even ordered the thorny flower to collect the mechanical cores and place them in front of Yu Yang. The fire ravens in the sky fled in all directions, but no matter how fast they were, they couldn't outrun the Reaper Mantis's scythe. Furthermore, there was still the Bloody Queen who was famous for her speed. The Banshee scream caused the fire ravens to fall one after another. The gold-ranked dragon-slaying dagger was a great killing weapon. In the water, it was the stone element Medusa and the storm mermaid's domain. Forget about them. Even the golden tiger shark that the stone element Medusa summoned could show off its might. This wasn't because the human shrine's guards weren't strong enough, but because Yu Yang's beasts were too abnormal. When Little One Li used her frost blade to freeze the puppet king and took out the puppet core, Yu Yang's summoning grimoire had finally leveled up. The golden light pillar of the leveled grimoire shot straight up. A unique halo of light spread out from the grimoire. It seemed to be an unknown new domain, but it also seemed to be runes revolving around it. With the grimoire as the center, the halo of light had a radius of about 10 meters. Yu Yang was stunned. He had never seen anyone's grimoire with a halo of light before. Wasn't his own grimoire's halo a little too flashy? What use did it have? He didn't know now, but the grimoire might have relevant records. When he looked at the grimoire again, Yu Yang was shocked. When his own grimoire was a high-level silver, there weren't many abnormalities. It was just that there were a lot of runes. Now, even a blind person could see how special Yu Yang's grimoire was. Firstly, it was incomparably huge. Other people's platinum grimoire wasn't even half the size of Yu Yang's gold grimoire. It was more than 2 meters long and close to 1 meter wide. As for its thickness, Yu Yang discovered that it had more than 30 pages. When a bronze grimoire was leveled up to a silver grimoire, there would be one more page every time it leveled up. Now, it had suddenly increased by more than 10 pages. It had doubled. Countless runes flashed on the surface for a long time, continuously combining, as if they were condensing into something new. However, Yu Yang couldn't understand what they were. The little bit of ancient runes that he had mastered was simply not enough. After waiting for a long time, the glorious golden light pillar gradually faded away. However, the halo of light was still there. There were even a few more heaven runes that flickered within the halo of light. It felt especially solemn and holy, with infinite mysteries. Yu Yang recognized these heaven runes. They represented the 4 attributes of wind, fire, water, and earth. What exactly did this mean? Opening the newly upgraded gold grimoire's front page, Yu Yang was immediately stunned. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.